Hey, how is it going? I don't do this very often, so if you're watching this, thank you very much. I have live streamed maybe once before on the channel. So I'm here with Mark Miklos, the designer of the Battles of the American Revolution series from GMT Games, and I really appreciate you taking the time to come and chat with me about the series and to play some of the series. We're going to be playing the Battle of White Plains Chatterton Hill scenario, which I guess would be considered the historical scenario of the Battle of White Plains. So before we jump into that, we're going to be playing on Vassal. I'm up here in one corner of the country in the Pacific Northwest. You're down there in Atlanta. So yeah, if there's anything that how you want to introduce yourself, talk to the folks who are watching right now. I'm just very thankful to be able to get the chance to play and chat with you.
Well, thank you, Justin, very much. I too am very grateful for this opportunity. I've enjoyed watching your channel. I love the way you present. I love the narratives that you share as you're playing the games, and I suspect we'll have an interesting narrative emerge from our battle at Chatterton Hill this evening. But this is going to be great fun, and I appreciate the exposure that you're giving to the series.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for the kind comments. As if anyone who is watching has followed my channel, I have done playthroughs of most of the games in the tri-pack, Utah Springs, Guilford Courthouse. There may be another one that I've done out there. I actually really, really love the series. And so one of the things before we get started that I wanted to ask you was kind of a three-part question. One, when you first started designing Saratoga back in the 90s, did you foresee the series being sort of a multi-decade affair? That's number one. Number two, what sort of stoked your interest in designing games in the American Revolution period?
That's two questions. Did you have a third one?
I do, but I don't want to overwhelm you with three at once. I'll save the third
Fair
one.
enough. Fair enough. Well, no, of course I didn't anticipate a series. I was just grateful that somebody would take a chance on an unknown designer. When you do something, when you're in a hobby, let's say, for as long as I had been, college days all the way up through full adulthood, and playing games, you think, well, how would I have done that design differently? Maybe I'm going to introduce a house rule to maybe make something a little more satisfying, and you tinker around the edges. Well, I had this opportunity in my life in the late 90s to devote some time to a game design, and I'll talk about how I landed on Saratoga in a second, but certainly did not expect anything more than a single game. It was a blessing, to be sure. Saratoga was runner-up for Charles Roberts' best pre-World War II game in 1998. That was the category then, best pre-World War II. So on the strength of that initial showing, GMT was more than happy to give me a chance for a second volume and then a third one. And here we are 26 years later. I could never have imagined it, with 10 volumes, 12 battles, 28 some odd scenarios, and volume 11 and small bore in the works. We can talk about that in a minute. As far as Saratoga goes, I was on the Saratoga battlefield. So in the back of my mind, I had this idea, well, maybe I can do a game. And I was on the Saratoga battlefield, and I was standing at the Boot Monument. And for anybody listening who's been to Saratoga, you know the Boot Monument. It is honoring the most gallant soldier of the Revolution. He is unnamed. And that's because it's the monument to Benedict Arnold, put there by his men, descendants of his men. It's a boot with a bullet hole through the instep, where he was shot. I had an epiphany. I thought, the Revolutionary War is underrepresented in the hobby. And Saratoga, by all accounts, is one of the 10 or 12 most critical, most pivotal battles of world history. And I said, does the world really need another Gettysburg, Waterloo, or Battle of the Bulge game? And this is back in the night. And since then, there have been a lot more Gettysburg, Waterloo, and Battle of the Bulge games. And God bless. I mean, there's so much more to uncover in all of those. and I admire them all and all the designers who do that work. But I thought, who's going to take a chance on an unknown designer when there's so many quality people working in those arenas? I need to find a niche that's underrepresented. That was the revolution in the late 90s. There was 1776 by Avalon Hill. GDW had a game out, Guilford Courthouse. There might have been one or two others, but it was definitely under the radar. So that's why I gravitated to the revolution, to Saratoga specifically. And like I said, had no earthly idea it was going to be as successful as it's ended up being.
Oh, it's a really interesting story. As coming to designing myself, it was kind of a very similar trajectory. Like, what is the niche that is missing from the hobby, and like, how can I contribute to it that way? So, I feel that deeply in my soul when you said that. I actually love the fact that you have stuck with the series for so long, because I do think the American Revolution is a bit underserved, especially in the U.S. wargame space when it comes to a topic. It's so critical to the existence of this country, obviously, and it's also, from a historical perspective, my opinion, at a very interesting moment in sort of the history of warfare. It's kind of like the last major conflict, I would say, before the Napoleonic era, and sort of like the sort of end of the Age of Reason, Age of Enlightenment kind of stuff. And for that reason, I find it quite interesting. And so the fact that we've gotten 11, 12 games more coming from you is very welcome news, because one of the things I appreciate about your series is that it is very playable. And that's one of the reasons why I've played it on the channel quite a lot, is that it is not hard to get to the table and start going. You don't have to do a lot of legwork to get, moving, playing the game, which is fantastic. But also the production values on it, the artists that you're working with, the design, the visual design of the game, from the counters to the player aids and stuff like that, is just very seamless. And I don't know if you want to talk about that at all and what's coming maybe next for the series, but I just wanted to appreciate those elements of it, because that's why I keep coming back.
Well, thank you. And there's a great team at GMT. I've worked with terrific artists, the late Roger McGowan, Mark Simonich, Rick Barber. Now Charlie Kibler has done the art for the last several volumes, and I especially love his touch. Um,
That
we're
man is a
going,
savant when it comes to maps.
yeah. We're going back and forth right now, actually, on the Cowpens map, which is going to be the flagship game for small bore, BoAR with a reduced scale. My scale is 200 yards per hex, 100 men per strength point. So there has to be a lot of abstraction. Close combat is an abstraction. You don't have ranged musket fire, for example. You do have ranged rifle fire and ranged artillery fire, but not ranged musketry when a hex is 200 yards. However, in small bore, the hexes are 25 yards, and each strength point is closer to 10 to 12 men. And so now you can have ranged musketry as well as ranged rifle fire, and so much more granularity in the combat. And that's going to allow us to introduce to the series so many of the battles that were critically important, like Cowpens, but on those battlefields there were fewer than 2,000 men on a side. So I for me to offer a standard BoAR game, you have to, as a player, you have to have more than 3 or 4 counters, to push around, or why bother? Whereas small bore will allow us to really explore those smaller and yet very critical battles. Now, coming up for standard bore, and I don't know, it's a little bit too small in the image here, but I've got a shirt on, the Battle of Green Spring, Virginia, July 6, 1781. There we are. I'm enlarged. So there you go. This was the immediate prelude to Yorktown and the largest field battle fought in the state of Virginia during the Revolution. We don't have any battles yet from Virginia, and so I felt like it was appropriate to move the series to Virginia, and why not offer the largest battle that was fought there, and a pivotal one indeed, because it was, as I said, the immediate precursor to Yorktown. And the outcome at Green Spring, had it gone more decisively for the British, would have affected. I'm sure would have affected the outcomes at Yorktown. But as it happens, the British settled for a marginal victory, despite Tarleton's urging that Cornwallis press his advantage in the waning daylight hours of the day. Cornwallis decided not to.
Where are you in the process for the design? I know when we met, just some background for people watching, we got a chance to meet for the first time at San Diego HisCon last November, and I know that you had several playtests of Green Spring happening there. So I'm just curious, how far have you come since then, and what's sort of the near term look like for Green Spring?
Sure, the game is done, the playtesting is done, everything is done. Had a conversation with GMT, and we agreed that we would put cow pens in the production queue first, ahead of Green Spring. We wanted to get the flagship small bore volume in the works, and it is in the art department. Like I just said, we're working with Charlie Kibler every day right now. And Green Spring is queued up and ready to be next as soon as next is, as soon as we have that window. Meanwhile, for your audience that may have had them on P500, Tri-Pack 2 is, I think, almost inbound from the printer. I was told that the designer, the developer, and GMT are about to receive our proof copies very, very soon, and the shipment is coming right behind it. So I can't forecast a ship date, and I don't want to speak for GMT, but I mean, it's so close now, we can taste it. Tri-Pack 2, that's going to be Monmouth, Germantown, and Newtown, which is a dual game with Oriskany.
I personally am very excited for that. I've been waiting for the second tri-pack for a long time. I had already had plans to do some playthroughs on the channel of at least Oriskany, but I know that Monmouth is kind of the fan favorite of the series. That's the one that I think I hear the most about in terms of excitement to play it and being one of the quote unquote best games in the series. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that second tri-pack. It's actually going to go, let's see if I'm mirrored. So it's going to go right on the shelf there. That's my BoAR cube for all those games there. So I'm very excited.
Mm-hmm. And if I can just throw this in too, I'm looking over the horizon already for volume 12, which will be a dual pack, Camden and Hobkirk's Hill. Now these are scale-wise, they are on the smaller side. They're going to be about the same counter density as Utah's, somewhere between Utah Springs and Saratoga counter density. They will just fit my cut line as far as can I get a game at that scale. What's cool about it is the battlefields are 8 miles apart, both on the outskirts of modern-day Camden, South Carolina. One was 1780, when the British had just taken Charleston and were overspreading the state. And the other is 1781, after Guilford Courthouse. Cornwallis has turned north, Nathaniel Greene has returned south, and now it's the reconquest of South Carolina. So it's going to present an interesting dichotomy, and the fact that the battlefields are right there side by side, it's pretty cool. So yeah, that's going to be 12.
That sounds like a really good game night doubleheader.
Yeah, there you go.
I just wanted real quick before we move on to talking about Battle of White Plains and Chatterton Hill, which we have set up here. I just want to give a hello to Jacob Guernsey, who recently, I guess, it's been more publicly known that he's working on an American Revolution design that's sort of an operational scale, kind of based loosely on the Great Campaigns of the American Civil War. So, Jacob, I'm excited to see what you're designing there. It looked really interesting from Gilbert's little video overview that he did. So thanks for joining me and Mark here as we play some colonial American conflict. All right. So with that being said, let's move it on over to. So real quick for everyone, there we have identified some weird technical gremlins with Vassal and StreamYard. So it is possible that Mark picture freezes, but we will have him via audio, and I will do my best to work around that if it happens. But we are going to be playing on Vassal here, Battle of White Plains, and we've got the historical Chatterton Hill scenario. Mark, is there anything that you want to set up about this, either historically or gameplay wise, before we get into it? You are going to be playing the Americans.
Yes, and this is the battle that was fought historically. Now, it's interesting that on this battlefield you had assembled the largest armies of the period in this war, 14,500 roughly British, who were later reinforced by another brigade, and then nearly the same amount of Americans. A very large battle by the standards of the period. But the only action historically occurred here at Chatterton Hill, which is on the American right flank. Is it possible, Justin, for you to open that map up and kind of get a full image just for a moment? Right. So you let's see. I'm gonna hop over to my Vassal module, which means my image is probably going to freeze up. But you should be able to see my cursor once I do that.
Yeah.
All right, so here I go. All right, so let me minimize my screen as well, so it's about the same size. All right, can you see my cursor moving?
Let's see. In Vassal?
Yeah.
No, but if you hold Alt and click, you can highlight. So that will help us.
Yes. All right.
Robert says, Justin, don't go easy on Mark. I hate to break it to you, but I watched Mark surgically dismember the Players Aid guys at San Diego HISCON in the Battle of Savannah. It was a complete defeat in detail for those guys, and I expect that he will do something very similar to me here, especially because I am the one attacking a fortified position, which is never smart.
So I just did alts down this line of field works. You see them?
Yep.
All right. So Washington had dug in with his right flank anchored on the Bronx River, which we're looking at right here. Okay. He had two lines of field works. That was the first line. There was a second line behind it here. And Purdy Hill was also fortified. On his left, up here, at Horton's Pond is some wilderness area that is so thick it's really even undeveloped to this very day. And again, he felt his right was secure by the river. But what he failed to take into account was Chatterton Hill over here, which was some high ground that, if taken by the British, it would dominate his right over here on Purdy Hill. He did not appreciate the need to defend it until the night before the British showed up on the battlefield, and he sent two regiments of militia over there. They're represented in this scenario, Brooks and Mosley, and they were asked to dig some field works, and there's one hex side right there. Oops, I'm sorry. Where did I? Just a minute. Here we go. There's one hex side right there that is fortified. That was fortified overnight by the militia, but the British appeared on the battlefield the next morning, and the works on the hill were obviously woefully incomplete. The British immediately saw the value of this high ground and the idea that if they could take it, they could not only get artillery up top to threaten the American right, but they would also open the road to Tarrytown. And if you're playing the full campaign, you've got off-map movement boxes here that will allow you to go to Tarrytown. Why is that important? Because the British have ships in the Hudson River at anchor in Tarrytown, and it would open up a new line of supply to the British Army. So there was a lot of reasons to get up here, and the British committed fully a third of their forces. As you see depicted on the map here, these are British and Hessians. The Hessians are the ones with the green stripes, and the British, of course, are with red. The rest of the British Army, just took positions across the front like this to hold the main American line in place. Now, Washington, the morning of the battle, did send some troops up here. You've got Hazlitt's Delaware Blues. They were the first to arrive. They were told to, and I'm going to enlarge my screen here just a
Yeah,
minute.
I'll do that the same as well.
They were told to, where's Hazlitt? Here he is. Right there, yes. You see the gold star on his counter. That means he's a demi-leader. Demi-leaders in my series are allowed to play tactics cards as if they were leaders. And Hazlitt was ordered to take command of all the militia on the hill. So he's a demi-leader for himself, and also if stacked with Mosley and Brooks or Brooks. I think stacked with or adjacent to. I'll have to double check
Yeah,
that.
I think it's adjacent to.
Stacked
Yep.
with or adjacent to. Then after Hazlitt arrived with the Delawares, McDougall arrived with his New York Brigade, consisting of 4 regiments: 19th Continental, 3rd New York, the Maryland Immortals. 1st New York is up here in that stack. They were sent up, and McDougall took over overall command at that point of everyone on the hill. And you'll notice that the units, the American units, some of their values are shown in white, like Maryland right here, and some are shown in black, like Mosley right here. And this one is shown in blue. Those color codes will help players recognize command and control restrictions when you're playing the full campaign game. In the full campaign game, McDougall, who is here, can only command his brigade. So his values are shown in white, and so are the values of his brigade. Over here, the 1st Connecticut Levy, that's part of Wentworth's brigade, and it's shown in blue. If we had the commander on the map, you'd see his value is blue. There's other color coding with units that are not depicted in this scenario. And then the ones in black are the rest of the army that are not restricted in the way I've just been describing. So visual aids, if you will, to help players keep up with the command and control. But for this scenario, Justin, just know that Delaware Blues are a demi-leader for himself and the militia, and McDougall commands everybody.
Okay. And then from a victory standpoint for the people watching, this scenario, this is the priority target, let's call it.
Right, and I'm going to click hide counters. Did you see them go away?
I did not, but I can do it. There you go.
So there's a star on the Chatterton Hill hex, and that's the victory objective. It's in red and blue, which tells you it's a victory objective for both sides. I have command restrictions also. My British commander, Leslie, right here, can only command British units. My Hessian commander, von Lossberg, can only command Hessian units. And then I've got a demi-leader of my own right here, Rahl. He can command any Hessian unit with whom he is stacked or adjacent. This is the same Colonel Rahl, by the way, who is killed at the Battle of Trenton.
Mm-hmm. And so you said Rahl, because since I'll be playing the British here, you said Rahl is the one who can he can command any unit,
any Hessian
unit. Okay.
Yep.
For purposes of tactics chip play.
Yes, and also that's right. Demi-leaders have no combat value added in like a leader does. But for tactics chits, yes, a demi-leader lets you pull all the tactics that are eligible.
Okay.
And some of what we're saying for the audience's benefit, some of what we're saying about tactics and this and that will become apparent once we engage, and we step through the steps of a combat procedure.
Yeah.
Your folks will recognize what we're talking about. But anyway, so historically, this was the battle. The British did win it historically. They did gain Washington's right flank. In response, Washington refused his right, gave up these forward trench positions here, and bent the line back to Purdy Hill like this. and then started the next day, actually. One day later, they both sat there looking at each other. The next day, Washington started pulling back further north to positions way back here at Miller Hill, Mount Misery, and other places further north. After several days, close to a week of Howe trying to probe the flanks, unable to find a way around, the armies disengaged. Howe went back to finish his conquest of New York by taking Fort Washington, the last stronghold on Manhattan. And Washington split his army, left some in the Highlands, sent some into New England, and took the rest on the long march through New Jersey, eventually across the Delaware River.
Well, that's great. That's an interesting context there, especially because we only have the scenarios units set out here around this particular engagement. But I remember when this got announced, I was like, oh my God, is this like BoAR's first monster game? 42 turns, 13,000 soldiers on each side. So I'm excited to get a taste of it here. I've actually not played this game in the series yet, so this will be fun.
Yeah, it's the magnum opus of the series right now for sure, and it potentially can go 4 full days, 42 turns, depending on how aggressive or cautious the two players wish to be. Time is not so much a factor. You can do it slow and deliberate, which is kind of the way many Age of Reason battles were fought. Not all,
Yes.
but many.
Slow and deliberate is how I'd characterize the entire century's worth of fighting, probably. All right. Well, are you ready to get started and open with a literal bang here from my British artillery?
Go ahead. You get for players. The scenario starts with British artillery fire on the bottom half of game turn 4. That's the only function on the bottom half of the turn, and then we will roll over to the top of the turn 5. We'll place that scorched earth marker, which we can talk about in a second, and we'll roll for initiative.
Excellent. All right. Well, here we go. So I pulled up so people can see it, the charts and tables here on the right side of the screen, and they can follow along as we do this. So we were talking a little bit before the broadcast. You're not allowed to combine howitzer fire and non-howitzer fire. You were saying that's correct, right?
Right.
And the heavy artillery marine gun battery here has a permanent -1 to its hit roll. As far as the British artillery here, as I'm looking at it, we've got a howitzer here and we've got a howitzer down here that you said they do not need line of sight and they have a range of 4. That's correct?
That's right.
Okay. So maybe I guess what we'll do is we will, let's see, let's start with some howitzer fire. I think, not to give away my strategy here, but for people playing, I'm looking at the battlefield, and I noticed that the British left, is full of Hessians who have quite good combat value, some decent morale, and they're in a kind of a position to come up sort of around the backside towards the top of these like fortifications. So at least to start with, I'm going to try and make some ground there. So I will start, Mark, with a combined howitzer barrage, I guess, on this unit here. Let's see, 1, 2. Yeah, that's probably what I'll do.
Okay, so that's three factors, and you when you combine guns, you use the longest range.
Longest range, yep.
So 3 factors at a range of 4. You would need a base of 8 to hit. Now you're firing at, or I should say, you're targeting militia.
Yeah.
And so the militia in White Plains, and this is a unique rule to this game in the series, the militia have to do a artillery targeting morale check. They may or may not stand to receive the fire. And
who could blame them?
Yeah, that's right. If I pass the morale check, then I receive the fire. If I don't pass the morale check, I have to retreat, and your guns, which you assign to this shot, do not get to target someone else.
Okay.
So Mosley's regiment has a -2 unit morale value. If I were stacked with Continentals, I could add 1, but I'm not. If I were behind Fieldworks, I could add 1, but I'm not. And so it's a straight -2. Here's my die roll. 4 -2. I fail the morale check. I have to retreat. It's a 1 hex retreat. And if you, I'm going to scroll down to the, or scroll up rather, to the retreat compass. If you,
Oh yeah, here I'll show that. There
it's
it is.
between the strength points lost. Yes. And you can see the shading shows the British retreat in the 3 southerly directions, the Americans retreat north and northeast. The northwest direction is dotted red and blue, and the army that can retreat in that direction is the army that controls Tarrytown. And for purposes of this scenario, the Americans control Tarrytown still. And so I could retreat in that direction. And I want to say one thing, Justin, if I may.
Uh-huh.
I appreciate all the content providers who are kind enough to play my games on YouTube. There are a couple of things that are misinterpreted quite often, and one of them that I'd like to set straight right here is retreats. You are never required to commit suicide if you can't retreat in the priority direction. As long as there is a legitimate path that you can take, you're allowed to take it, even if it's toward the enemy. Now, if one of these 3 priority directions is available, that's your first choice, and you need to go that way. And so in this case, I could go there. I could go there, right? And I could go, whoops, there, I picked up. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to take him with me. I could go in any of those 3. Now, I would rule this one out because that's toward the enemy.
Yes.
Right? So it would be one of the other 2. And I'm going to retreat to the Delaware Blues behind the Fieldworks.
That makes total sense.
Yeah, but just for the benefit of folks watching, just because the preferred direction is unavailable to you, maybe it's a ZOC, maybe it's prohibited terrain, maybe it's enemy units there. As long as there's somewhere you can go and survive, you can do that. Now, if it's towards the enemy, that doesn't bode well for the next game turn, perhaps. But
personally, I would have loved to see them retreat towards the British lines, because the howitzers would probably have relished another shot next time they get to fire.
All right, so the howitzers have fired, and you still have your field guns. Now, the range for your heavy battery, which is here, yes, is 4 hexes. It does need a line of sight. The range for your field guns, which is, yes, Rawls battery, and I think there's also a field gun. Does Lossberg have a?
No, just the howitzer for him.
Oh yes, okay. So you just have Rawls gun and the heavy. Rawls gun is a 4-pounder. It's got a range of 3. The heavy has a range of 4, and that's one other, if I may, that's just one other thing that players occasionally get wrong. Ranges are not based on the strength points on the artillery unit. Ranges are based on the type of gun that it is. If it's a field gun and it doesn't say heavy, then it's a field gun with a range of 3. You can look in the player aid card and you'll see an artillery characteristics matrix. It shows field artillery, heavy artillery, and howitzers. You can see they're different. They're drawn differently, and then it tells you what their ranges are. So the heavy can fire 4, the field gun can fire 3.
Well, I'm glad you set this up with some rules clarifications because I'm going to need a refresher on the line of sight here. So this heavy artillery is
Yep.
on a hill, let's say, and there's a what is this, light woods or orchard, something like that.
That's a
This is an
light
orchard.
woods. Yes,
Yeah,
that's an
light
orchard.
woods, orchard.
Yep.
Now you are also, if I were to target him, do those light woods and orchards block line of sight?
They do not. You can
Okay,
fire hilltop to hilltop.
great. Well, we're going to do that. So the heavy artillery is going to fire at the Maryland Immortals.
All right. 4 at a range of 3.
Is 7 or higher, but the heavy artillery -1 because it's marine guns,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
All right, here we go.
That's
That's
a
going to
miss.
be a miss. Yep. All right, and then lastly, we've got Rawls field guns here. He is going to fire, I guess. Here is really the only thing he can shoot at, probably.
All right. Now I'm behind that stone wall.
Yep.
So let's just look at this for a minute. One factor at a range of 2, is a base of 9. The stone wall gives me a die roll modifier. That would mean you'd have to have a 10 to hit.
Right.
And because a hit is not feasible, therefore my militia does not have to do a morale check, a pre-fire morale check, because you're not able to hit me in the first place.
Gotcha.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yep, I sure do.
All right.
All right.
So
well, he's not going to fire at all, right?
Nope, he has no shot.
Okay, great. The one thing I'm hoping to take away from this, by the way, is finally understanding the rules for diversions in this system. Because as much as I have read that paragraph over and over, I for whatever reason, I just cannot personally parse it. So if we get into a situation where diversion is possible, I would love to hear directly from you about how that works.
And I predict we will.
Okay, great. Comment here that we need some laser guided artillery. Yeah, I would gladly take some right now.
All right, so we're going to move the game turn marker to the top of 5.
Yep.
We're going to place the scorched earth marker down here. Whoop. Bing. Now, for folks watching, in the campaign game, the American player has to roll. It's a one-time opportunity to get scorched earth, and he can attempt to set this hex, or this hex on fire. Historically, it was lit here. It was successful. And since this is the historical scenario, we're allowing for the scorched earth to be in place there. Neither player can enter this hex so long as it's flame side up. And the flames and smoke block line of sight through this hex. At the end of the next game turn, which is going to be the end of 6, we're going to flip that marker over to the smoldering side. And the hex will then be playable with a +1 MP to enter.
Excellent.
And now we need to roll for initiative.
Yes.
Now, before we roll the die, I think you start with momentum, don't you?
I do. I have 1 momentum.
All right. So just as a reminder, Justin, before rolling for initiative, you can choose to spend the momentum to get +2 to your die roll. We are both currently in high morale.
Yep.
Maybe we ought to talk about the morale track just real quick. So you can see the morale track there at the bottom of the map. So long as both markers are in high morale, the unit morale value that's printed on the counters is as printed. And we both are adding 1 to our initiative die roll. Once you become fatigued, which is down in this area here, then your printed unit morale is reduced by 1 on every counter, and you add 0 to your initiative die roll. In this particular scenario, to win a substantial victory, you only have to cause the enemy to waver. If we were playing the campaign game, of course, you would go all the way to demoralized. But in this scenario, you just have to cause the enemy to waver to win substantially. So We both are going to add 1 here.
Yep.
However, if you spend that momentum chit, you'll add 2 more to your die roll. But before you decide, the other value of that momentum chit is to call back an adverse die roll in close combat. If you're attacking me and you really need a breakthrough or a victory and you get a bad roll after modifiers, you can spend momentum and force a reroll. Or if I attack you and I get a great outcome and you don't want to lose, you can force me to reroll. That's the other use of momentum. And I think in White Plains, you can also spend momentum during the rally phase to purchase an opportunity card. So there's 3 uses for momentum, and
the only way to get it back is by rolling very high on the close combat table, correct?
Yes, or very low. Defenders want low results, -1, -2, and attackers want plus 10, plus 11.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a byproduct of modifiers, But it's a hard call, Justin, and I'm going to say that's why you're wearing the general's epaulets right now.
That's right.
Because you don't really want me to have the benefit of a turn in which to dress my line.
Exactly.
You would love to come up the southern end of that ridge and smack Brooks's militia while he's unsupported.
That is exactly right, and that is exactly why I'm going to spend the chit for the initiative roll, because I forced the militia back. I want a strong opening. I want to keep the pressure on you. I don't want to give you any breathing room. So we're going to go ahead and spend it for the +2 on the initiative. Despite this probably being the decision when we look back when this game is over, being like, you shouldn't have done that, Justin. You should not have spent it. But
if it's any consolation, I was the British in my game at RevCon last week, and I spent it on turn 1, and I was fortunate to get the initiative and took advantage of it, like you hope to do here.
Yes. And Robert McCracken says, can we give Justin advice? It's all of us versus Mark, right? I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah. Listen, by all means, Cappy, give advice.
Yeah. If my subordinates want to send me reports about what's going on the field of battle, I will gladly read them. All right. So shall we roll for initiative?
All right. Show me what I have to beat. 5 and 1 is 6, plus 2 is 8.
Yep.
7 and 1 is 8. That's a reroll, and you get to keep the same modifiers,
including those spent momentum.
Yes.
Okay, great. That's not so good.
3 and 2 is 5. 4 and 1 is 5. That's a second tie. All right. Hey, man.
There we go.
I don't know. I tell you, is Raul anxious about turning the flank or what?
Yeah, it seems like it. All right, one more time. Once more into the breach. Here we go. Slightly
3,
better.
4, 6.
Yep.
You got it.
Oh, there we go. All right.
So we're going to flip this thing over. It's on the British side. And there you go.
You made it hard for me.
I do want to remind you of your movement restriction here on the west side of the Bronx River. You can enter this hex on the Dobbs Ferry Road right here.
Yeah, okay.
You can enter that hex.
Okay.
But you cannot move north of it.
Okay.
Or west of it.
Okay.
While you're on the west side of the Bronx River. But the exception to that is everything on Chatterton Hill is in play.
Okay.
So if you get up on the hill, all of this up here is in play.
Okay. So basically there's a narrow window kind of in this area with which I can sort of break through, hopefully.
Yeah, you can attack from here, 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 you know, here.
Sure. Okay. Well, I'm going to bring up the charts here real quick just so I have the terrain effects. I probably won't put it on screen, but I will have it in front of me so that I can, as I talk this out, you can tell me if I'm making any mistakes and whatnot.
Yep.
So we start with movement, I assume, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so to cross the, this is what would be considered secondary Bronx River. Am I reading that correctly?
That's correct.
Okay, so +1 to movement there.
Plus
And in
plus
Light
two.
Woods, yeah.
+2 for secondary.
So, excuse me. Yes, wrong line. Secondary +2, and Light Woods is going to be 1 movement point other than if you're artillery or a dragoon. So
That's correct.
okay,
And artillery cannot cross the Bronx
except
class 2 except at a ford.
yeah, which they're
Which
not going to
yeah,
not going to roll it into the flames.
it would be here or here. There's a ford here at the Driesbach Orchard.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to start up here on the British side of things, and we are going to move. Let's see what do we got here. And he's got this. Okay. So let's go ahead and move Lossberg and the what is this? The Ditfirth Fusiliers. We'll go 1, 2, and 3, 4. If that's right.
Well, it's +2 for the river, +1 for the hex you're entering, so that would be 5.
Okay, so they'll stop here.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you know what? Because they started up here.
Right.
What we're going to do is we're going to have the Fusiliers. Hold on, sorry, I'm stacking. Okay, let's do this a different way. We're going to have these Fusiliers cross here, so that would be 3, correct?
Yes, 3.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and then 4 to there.
Yes.
All right, great. Then we're going to have these Fusiliers come down on the artillery.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to have von Lossberg himself go 1, 2, +3 is 5 on top of those Fusiliers there.
Yes.
All right, great. Let's see. We got some British up here. We also have some rifle units and some light infantry. So I cannot, with these units, as far as movement goes, they're not allowed to go past row 24. That's correct?
On the east side of the Bronx, they can't go past hex row 24, which I believe includes this hex.
Okay.
You cannot enter or be north of that hex row.
Okay.
On the east side of the river.
Yeah, but once I cross, it's okay.
Yep.
Okay. So let's go ahead and move this flank over here with both of these units. I know technically you're supposed to move them one at a time, but I think they're going to wind up in the same spot. So
sure.
We'll go 1, 2 up the hill, right?
Yep.
Then here is 3.
So that would be 3, 4 down the hill, but now you've entered hex row 24 and you can't go there.
Oh, I thought it's not inclusive; it's exclusive.
It's inclusive of hex row 24.
In terms of 24 is inclusive of being prohibited.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so then in that case we can go 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes.
Right. Okay, so that's fine for there. And then here, let's have the Royal Berkshire and the 5th Foot come down 1, 2 down the hill, right?
Yep.
And they probably have to stop there, I assume.
Yes, because to cross would be 5 total.
Yep. Okay, well, they've got to do it at some point, so we're going to go there. I guess technically a better move here is I would go down 1, 2 here, and then 3 here. So let's do that instead.
And if I may, Justin, for the benefit of the audience, these 5 hex sides, which you can see are much darker brown than the rest of the slopes on the map, they're called severe slope. And I would just caution you against making an attack up a severe slope. That's not to say you wouldn't have to in some circumstances, but you're giving the defender on top of that slope too much of an advantage.
Yeah. No one wants to be scaling a cliff under gunfire against those Continentals.
Yeah.
Okay. And then finally up here, let's have Leslie and his units. We can go 1.
Yes.
And then this would be 3 to cross there, so 4, right?
Yes. Now you realize that combat is mandatory among adjacent units, so you're moving into contact.
Yep, that's right.
Good.
Okay, so that's the British and kind of the center taken care of. We've moved these Fusiliers. Okay, so now we're going to come over here, and this is where I think the main thrust is going to be this turn. So let's get Rahl himself, if he wants to move, he has to pass a morale check. Is that correct?
No, Rahl is fine. The Hessian unit that has to pass a morale each turn before it moves is right here.
Ah, okay.
3rd Battalion Grenadiers, and notice their movement is only 3. They
Yep.
were extremely reluctant to participate.
Well, let's see if we can get him. I'm gonna start with him. Let's see if we can maybe get him moving. So it's going to be, normally it's a 5 or better, but he's got a +1 on the roll, if I'm reading that correctly.
Yep.
All right, so 4 or better. Okay, he is extremely reluctant to participate.
He's in the cidery. Can you blame him?
No, I cannot. Yeah, that's where I'd be if I was in this battle for sure. Okay, well, let's start with Rawl. So I guess the red +2 to morale is just a reminder that he's a demi leader. Is that the graphic
So
representation there?
no, let's look at that for a second. I'm going to put him on top of the.
Yep.
So the yellow star, the gold star tells you
Uh-huh.
he's a demi leader.
Yep.
The fact that his unit morale is in a red circle,
Uh-huh.
that classes him as an elite unit, which has no bearing on this scenario. But if you were playing either of the other 2 scenarios where there's the opportunity for rain, then elite units can attack in close combat in the rain without a detrimental modifier.
I see. Okay. All right. Well, he is just going to go ahead and come down. Let's see. And the stone wall there, that's considered a stone wall?
Yes.
That's a -1 die roll modifier in close combat?
It is, and you'd be paying -1 upslope as well.
Ew, gross. Okay.
However, you'd be getting a benefit because I'm defending with an all militia force.
Yeah.
And my unit morale is -1 compared to whatever you're going to throw at me. So,
yep.
And I don't have leadership for tactics because I'm not adjacent to the Delaware unit or my leader. Gotcha. So you'd have tactics and I wouldn't. Yep. And I've got a bunch of offsets against those -2 that you were calling out there.
Yep. The problem is, because I am allowed to enter this hex, right?
Yes.
So whoever I send there has got to attack this guy.
Or declare a diversion.
Diversion, okay. So if I was going to do that, what unit would I want standing here for the diversion? Would I want it to be the Lib Company, or would I want it to be one of the 2 4-4s?
From the point of view of a diversion, it really doesn't matter.
Okay.
But what you want to consider is the lie that you'll have after the combat is over. If you have a 1 strength, if you have the Lib Company here, strength of 1, and I remain here with the Connecticut levy, then potentially, I'm not saying I would do it, but potentially I'd have a 2-to-1 attack on you.
Sure.
Whereas if a 4 strength unit was in that hex, then not so much.
Not so much, yeah. Well, okay, so I'm just going to set this up in a way so that you can explain to me how the diversion stuff actually works. So if I move Rawl here, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that.
Yes.
And then we moved Nipphausen 1, 2, 3 to here, for example. And we moved Lib Company 1, 2, 3 to there. What does a diversion look like if I was going to do one, for example?
All right. So there's a marker that you would grab, and it says diversion. I think.
See if I can find it.
I think it does. We are introducing a diversion marker. We may not have one in the module, so I may have spoken through my hat. But we are introducing diversion markers in volume 11, which is Green Spring, and I'm going to put enough of them on the counter sheet so that you can populate the other games in your series, because you only need 1 diversion marker per game.
That's awesome.
But what you would do is you would say, okay, I've got 4, 8, 9 to 3. That's 3 to 1. But I'm declaring a diversion here.
Yeah.
That means Rawl does not have to attack the levy, and instead can throw in against Brooks.
Okay.
But what it costs you is 1 column shift. So from 3 to 1, you drop to 2 to 1.
Gotcha.
But that's good because by having Rawl in this position, you have flanked the stone wall.
Yeah.
And so I would get slope, but I would not get stone wall.
Stone wall. I see. So I see. So you're declaring that some portion of the sort of flanking attacker is engaging someone that he has to be attacking normally under normal combat rules, but there's not an actual combat rule for it. It just penalizes you on the actual combat you're fighting.
That's right. It's
Okay.
you've taken a piece of that regiment and they're demonstrating against the levy,
Yeah.
while the bulk of them, go the other way and throw in against Brooks.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, I got one last unit to move here, which is the 17th Light Dragoons, who I assume are probably not going to be very useful in this battle, but we're going to try it anyway to move them and get them somewhere. I'm just looking at the terrain effects. It looks like Dragoons are 1.5 in light woods or orchards, so there's really.
But you've got trails here in the
Yeah.
Driesbach Orchard. If you hide your units, you'll see that there's a trail connection underneath the 3rd Battalion Hessian Grenadier there.
There's
Yeah.
So and I can use that trail coming from here, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Cool. So we'll go 1, 2. The 4. Does that add any? No, it does not.
It negates the crossing penalty.
Okay. So 3, 4, and then we'll just move up onto the hill here. 5, 6.
Yeah.
I believe, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Now, to your comment about you don't know how useful they'll be, I'll just say that part of that rationale depends on what cards you drew when you drew your opportunity cards.
Okay.
And there's also, if you look at the CRT close combat die roll modifiers, British Dragoons get a +1 when they're attacking militia.
Okay.
So there's.
Let's get him in there to run rampant on top of the hill if we can.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, great. So, yeah, I just took a look at my cards again since you reminded me. I don't want to forget that. So I would love to just walk through this attack. Let's start with this one here, if that's okay. Yep. I just want to walk through it with you to make sure I get it properly done. So I'm going to declare a diversion so that all 3 of these guys can attack Brooks' regiment. And that would mean that instead of 3 to 1, I'm at 2 to 1, correct?
That's right. We're on the 2 to 1 column. Now, the attacker declares their lead unit first.
Oh, it's going to be raw for the morale.
Okay. +2, and I only have 1 unit there, so he is my lead unit at -1. That gives you a morale differential of +3 in your favor.
Okay.
Okay. Next, you're going to subtract 1 because you're all units are coming up slope.
Yep.
So you're at +2.
+2.
Next, the stone wall, I don't get it because you're on my flank.
Yep.
Okay. Next, we would look at leaders if we had eligible leaders stacked in the combat. They don't have to be stacked on the lead unit. They just have to be stacked in the combat. So, for example, if von Lossberg himself were down here on the Leib company or whatever, you would get to use his close combat DRM. However, neither of us have a leader present, so that's moot.
Okay.
All right. So where we are is 2 to 1 +2, and the last thing we're going to do is not the last thing, excuse me. The next thing we're going to do is determine whether either of us wishes to play an opportunity card. And it goes to the attacker first.
Yeah.
Now, the sequence is you can play or pass.
Yep.
If you pass, I can play. Or pass. Let's say I play. It goes back to you.
Yep.
You can play or pass. And this continues back and forth, and we can lay down as many cards as we wish to influence the battle until we have both passed in succession, or one of us has played a card that says, highlighted in white on the card, this card ends combat.
Gotcha. And just for my reminder, the ways that we get new opportunity cards is either going to be with momentum chits during the rally phase or capturing the Chatterton Hill victory hex. Is that correct?
And game turn 6, the turn track reminds us, draw opportunity card. And we will each draw one before we roll for initiative.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. All right. Well, then it's up to me then if I'm going to play one. Is that correct?
That's right.
All right. Here we go.
Oh, God. +1 when attacking a hex containing any American militia. So you're now
Yes.
at +3.
Yes.
All right. I'm going to pass. It goes
Hmm.
back to you. If you can play another card or you can pass. If you pass, that ends the card phase.
I will pass.
All right. So I think if you right click on that, it
Uh-huh.
sends it to it
Yeah.
sends it
Play
somewhere.
play discard. Yep.
Play discard. Okay.
Yep.
So you're at 2-1 +3. That was well played, Justin.
Thank you. Thank
Um,
you.
and then the last thing we do now is tactics.
Yes.
And you have all 8 tactics available
Right.
because this hex right here is considered an open flank hex. And so you get all 8 tactics. I'm restricted to those 4 tactics, which are only available to units that don't have leadership.
And I'm just going to pull the tactical matrix up onto the screen so that everyone can see it here real quick while we do this. Hopefully in a spot that's unobtrusive, but let's there we go. Okay, so we're fighting here. If you're still watching, here's the tactical matrix. So everything's eligible to me. You're only available are the core ones. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So this is whenever I teach this game to someone, I always describe the tactic system to them as that scene from The Princess Bride where he's trying to determine which glass the poison is in. And it just, you look at this and you're like, well, he knows I'm going to pick this. So because he knows that, I'm going to pick something different. But then he'll know that I'm going to know that he knows that, and I'm going to pick something different. So I'm going to choose the original one. So I tend to find this part of the game very enjoyable in terms of like, how well do you know your friends and opponents and their mental state when they choose this stuff?
Now, when I lay, it's going to be interesting. We didn't do a test on this before we went live tonight. When I put my tactic down, it should show up as a question mark on a Betsy Ross. On the Brandywine battle flag. The White Plains battle flag.
Yeah.
And yours should appear.
Well, we can test it right now if you want. I'll just pull one out there. You cannot see that, I assume.
Right. I can't. All I see is a Union Jack, and you should only be able to see the flag on mine.
Yes, that is correct. Yep.
All right. So now I'm going with this one, by the way.
Let me just look and see what I've got here, because I am guessing. I'm just going to talk this out as we talk about this. So I am going to guess that you would probably most likely not choose stand fast. Withdrawal seems like one that you would probably want to do. However, if I'm reading this correctly, Mark, if you chose withdraw and I chose frontal assault, that would be a +2.
Yes. And speaking of withdraw,
that
hex is in your zone of control.
Oh, yes.
That hex is in your zone of control.
Yeah.
And in order to play a withdraw card, you have to physically be able to disengage from combat.
Okay. So that one's out.
Yep.
All right. So let's see. What would you play here? And what would I play here? This is the brilliance of this system. It's you never know. It's the Forrest Gump of the American Revolution. You never know what you're going to get. Okay, I think. Okay, I think I know what I'm going to do. So let's get that shit. Okay, there it is. All right.
Reveal.
All right.
Oh no. Well done.
Thank you.
So that's plus another one. So you're at +4.
Yep.
2-1 odds.
And so the reason you chose attack on echelon was because you felt that was the safest if I chose stand faster withdraw. That gave you probably the best chance of a -1, basically.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. +4 it is. Let me bring up the close combat table so that people can see what I'm rolling here.
2-1 +4.
+4. This should be pretty good.
Should be.
Should be. All right. Here we go.
Oh, God. All right. So a lot of things are about to happen. First and foremost, you gain momentum. So So go over to the momentum thing and give yourself one. That's very important. Oh, nope. No. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Normally, with this kind of a die roll, you would gain momentum. But in this scenario, You don't gain momentum against an all militia force.
All militia. Yeah, that's correct. Okay.
I should say not just this scenario, but this
in general.
At White Plains in general. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
so we're on the 11.
I'm checking momentum exception. The British player does not gain momentum for outcomes against an all militia force. So, nevertheless, I am captured because it's an attacker's choice capture, but that's the only unit. That's there.
It's the 2-1 11 AC attacker captured.
Yeah. Now, that's a half a victory point for militia.
Okay.
You did not gain momentum because, again, against an all militia, no momentum and no army morale increase.
Right.
I stand corrected. I'm stumbling all over myself. No momentum, that's correct. But army morale is affected. So you went up from 19 to 20. I went down from 18 to 17.
Okay. Yeah, and we can see that here.
There we go. There we go.
And
now your lead unit must move into the vacated hex, and other units may accompany as long as you don't violate stacking.
Okay, so that was raw, and I'm going to have Live Company go ahead and advance up there as well.
All right, you're on the heights.
Yep. Where is there a capture box on this map, or are they held in the vassal module off map?
No, it's right above the army morale track. In fact, I'm looking at.
There it is. Perfect. Yep. Cool. Okay. All right, so that was the first combat. Then we've got another one over here.
Yeah.
So this is going to be, I have 5 and you have 3, so I believe that's going to be 3 to 2.
Yep.
Okay, and then as far as die roll modifiers go, my lead unit, I've got to choose one. They're both 0, so we'll choose the 2-4, the 35th foot here. Okay. Actually, you know what? Let's choose we'll choose the 35th foot. Yeah.
Okay. And of course, I only have my 1 unit there. So you have a deficit of 1 on army morale. So you're at -1. Yep. You're minus another 1 for slope.
Yep.
That's -2. You get 1 back because you've got Leslie in the combat and he's got a DRM of 1.
Yep.
So you're at -1.
I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
You're regulars. You're not a militia or anything, so.
Right. I'm just looking at the way you approached here, and you had, if I'm not mistaken, the 5th and the Royal Berkshire. Were they here?
They were. Ooh, that's a good question. Let me look at the scenario.
No, they weren't either. No, they weren't either. I think they were under the howitzer.
This is Leslie, the 35th and the 28th foot. They were in hex 2327. So they were next to the howitzer.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the other guys, 1, 2. Yeah, okay, all right, okay, all good.
All right. So I'm at -1 before we play cards. Is that correct?
Yes, and you're the attacker. So again, do you wish to play a card?
I sure do.
Oh no, God! This card ends combat, so I can't even play a card. No die is rolled. Enemy lead unit automatically retreats. Other units make morale checks as normal. Well, there are no other units in the hex. But I will retreat thusly.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
It's probably going to come back to bite me when it comes to your attack, but we'll see.
My word. Well, at least I know you're out of cards.
Yeah, that's... And I think that's it, right? That was all the combats we had. That's the end of my half of the turn.
Yeah. Wow. Very well. All right. We move the game turn marker down, flip it over, and it's my turn. Yikes.
I mean, you could just go home. You know, Washington's going to order kind of a general withdrawal soon anyway, so just get ahead of it.
All right, let's take the 19th Continental, bring them here. Let's take the 1st New York there. Let's see. You've got 5. That's 4, 7, 10. Back him up.
Mark is a master of making you feel great about your move, and then he moves. Yeah, I figured that was coming. I wanted to have some early glory that I could look back on fondly before he dismantles my attack here.
1, 2. 1, 2.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt.
All right, now it's defensive artillery fire.
Yeah. And so the howitzers are, let's see, where's the other howitzer? Over here, yeah. I can't, the Hessians can't reach anybody, which is obviously by design. The 2nd Brigade howitzers could fire here, and they could fire here. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
You don't need line of sight.
Yeah. All right. Well, I suppose this. I mean, it's the odds are low, but I guess I should probably fire at McDougal.
Well, you can't target a leader.
Yeah, his stack. That's what I meant. Sorry, his hex.
Right, and you would select a specific target, and you have some interesting.
Yeah.
If you want to just talk through this for a second,
Sure.
you can target the artillery, which would give you a positive die roll modifier.
Right.
You can target the Delaware Blues because that's my crack unit.
Yep.
You can target the militia in the hopes of forcing a retreat if they don't stand to receive the fire. Or you can target the Immortals because they are the largest unit in the hex.
Yeah.
So you really have, the battery commander has to make a tough call here.
Yeah. I mean, targeting the artillery wouldn't actually do me much good because that's just like, even if I hit it, I mean, unless I rolled a leader casualty, but that's probably pretty unlikely. I'm just looking at what they have 2 strength points at 1, 2, 3, 4 hexes. I'd have to roll a 9. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So I think what I'm going to do is fire at Mosley's regiment.
All right, and since you need a 9, that's a legitimate shot, which means now that Mosley has to do a morale check. He's -2, but he's stacked with Continentals, which takes 1 away, so he's -1. But he's stacked with McDougal, and if you'll notice, his middle value is his rally modifier, so that brings Mosley back to even.
Okay.
So I need a 5 or better to hold and receive the fire. I do not.
Those militia, so unreliable.
So he has to retreat. That's going to lower my odds from 2 to 1 to 3 to 2.
Good.
Oh, God. Okay. So that continue with your defensive fire.
All right. So I need a 9, I believe. Am I still targeting Mosley's regiment? Is that correct?
No. You targeted him. He failed to stand.
I see.
Your howitzer is done. Now you still have your heavy battery, and I think that's it.
I don't. The heavy battery can only, I think, target him. I don't think he can see. Yeah. So we'll fire at the 1st New York. So it's going to be -1 if I'm not mistaken. It's 4 at a range of 4. So I need an 8.
Actually, hold on. Yep. Here's the hex spine right here.
Yeah.
So that's an open.
Yeah. Okay. So I could.
So you
fire
can
it.
target either hex.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go after the 19th Continentals then.
All right. So 4 at a range of 1, 2, 3, 4.
Is I need an 8, but because it's the Marine guns, it's -1, so I need a
Yep.
9.
Yep.
Close,
Not
but
bad.
no.
Not
Yep.
bad. And that's it.
Yep. Because Rawls guns can't see anything.
All right.
I don't think so.
Rifle fire, there is none. You're not adjacent.
Right.
And so it's combat, and my new odds are 2, 4, 7, 8. 8 to 5 is 3 to 2. My lead unit is going to be the Delaware Blues.
Okay.
And now it's over to you to declare a lead unit.
My lead unit will be again the 35th Foot.
Okay. So I have +2 for morale differential. My leader is a 1, your leader is a 1, so leaders cancel.
Yep.
As far as DRMs are concerned.
Yep.
It's over to me to play a card as the attacker. I will not. I'll pass. And I don't believe you have any cards left.
I do not.
Okay, so no card play. Now we go to tactics.
Yes.
And there's an open flank right there. So we both have leaders. There's an open flank. So both of us have all 8 cards.
Okay. This is interesting. You're the attacker, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay. Hmm.
Actually, I'm going to change that.
Okay. Boy. All right. Let's go with that. Okay. Okay. There's mine.
All right. That's a 0.
Yep. Good.
So it's a 3 to 2 with a +2.
Right.
Here's the roll. That's a
pretty
9.
Good. Yeah.
You take a step loss on your lead unit.
Okay.
You'll notice the Army morale track readjusted. You went down 1. I went back up 1.
Because of step loss result. Yep.
Yep. And now your other unit, the 28th Foot, has to do a morale check. You're going to get to add Leslie's +1 to that.
Okay. Passed.
He passes, so he holds, and that ends the close combat. Okay. So now we move to the top of 6, and we each draw an opportunity card.
Great.
Before rolling for initiative.
Okay.
Ooh.
I don't like the sound of that.
I need to consider that one. All right. And now we roll for initiative. Once again, you're not holding momentum. There is no momentum.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a straight roll. We're both adding 1.
Okay. 5 for me.
7 for
that's
me.
what I was afraid of.
Okay. Well, but see, yes, I'm going first, but it keeps the threat of the back-to-back move in your favor.
Yeah.
The Scorched Earth stays flame side up till the end of this game turn.
Okay. If there are people, while you take your turn, just real quick, some commentary. If there are people who have not yet played Battle of White Plains and watching right now, I really like this detail on the map here, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. The Headless Horseman, depicted in the short story, was inspired by a real-life Hessian soldier who lost his head by cannon fire during this battle. That's the kind of historical flavor and texture that I love about war games. You look somewhat concerned.
Yeah, let's see. You're down to 4 strength points. So 2, 4, 7, 8. I'm at 2-1 without militia.
Yeah.
Those damn militia. Let's put them back here. And I think we're going to. That's the only move I'm going to make.
Okay.
Actually, just a minute. Where's that Hessian howitzer? There it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to move Hamilton's artillery right here. And by the way, speaking of historical flavor, if I don't know how large you can enlarge the map that the players are seeing.
Like you zoom in or zoom out?
Zoom in, make the counter larger. Hamilton's artillery, and you can see that the name is in italics. And if you were to look at every counter in this game, you'd discover that this is the only counter whose name is in italics. And you may say, well, what's that all about? You'd turn to the design notes and the historical summary in the back and all that good stuff, and you'd discover that the historical record does not have Hamilton at this battle. First-hand accounts do not have him here. The first occurrence of Hamilton named as being at this battle was in a biography written by his son almost 20 years later. And subsequent historians, particularly secondary historians, historians writing secondary history, took that and ran with it. And it's one of those examples of information that gets in the later record that is suspect. If you go back to primary sources, including Hazlitt's own writings, and he was a prolific diarist at this battle, he himself, Hazlitt, put shoulder to the wheel and helped push one of these 2 artillery pieces to the top of the hill, and wrote in detail about every facet of the fight on Chatterton Hill and never named Hamilton. And he would have, given that Hamilton was a staff officer, or I should say, he was not yet a staff officer, but he was in Washington's orbit, if you will.
Okay.
He was part of the New York artillery at this time, but he was noticed. And Hazlitt would have named him, and others would have named him, and he's not named except by his son writing 20 years later. So I put his name in parentheses because Hamilton became very popular after the Broadway play, and it's there as a conversation starter.
Cool. I love that. That's really, yeah. It's funny while we're talking about that. It's funny. I find if designing my game, one of the hardest pieces of the design for the historical accuracy is reconciling multiple accounts from different eras.
Yep.
Even as far as like place names, which commanders were in charge. You have the advantage that like we're not that far away from the Revolution, and there's a lot of documentation that's available and archived and whatnot. I feel like I have a lot of respect for people who just try to design accurate orders of battle going back into like the medieval era and prior to that, because it's like, who even knows whether the records that we do have are even close to being accurate. And this is a really great example of how someone's family member could choose to insert them there, whether they're correct or mistaken. It completely changes what the understanding of who was where is.
All right, I moved the militia, I moved my artillery. That's the only thing I'm doing. So you have defensive artillery fire once again.
Yes. So, the howitzers are not in range. 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Well, this one is. This howitzer is. And I can't. Can you target the same hex with a howitzer and a regular gun, or no?
You can target the same hex, but not the same unit.
Not the same unit. So I could shoot at the 8th, 19th, and the 3rd separately.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So let's have the British howitzer, 2nd Brigade howitzer, target the 19th Continentals there.
Okay.
So we are at 3 hexes, 2 strength. That's going to be an 8 or better, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
That's a fail. And the British heavy will fire at the other unit in that stack, the 3rd New York. So 4 at 4 is going to be an 8, and then I need -1, or I have -1, so it's a 9. Also a fail.
All right. No rifle fire, and your other guns are out of range or have no line of sight.
Right.
No rifle fire, 1 combat, 2, 4, 7, 8, 8 to 4, 2 to 1. I'm once again going to lead with the Delaware Blues.
Okay, and I will now lead with the 28th foot.
Okay. So +2 on unit morale.
Yep.
And once again, leaders are cancel each other. Once again, we both have leadership and all the cards are available. But before we go to cards, I'm the attacker. Do I wish to play an opportunity card?
Right.
No. And you don't have any.
Right. Well, no, I have one that I drew, but I'm not going to play one.
Oh, I beg your pardon. You do have one, and you can play it if you wish.
I will not.
All right, very well. So now we go to tactics.
Yeah.
All set?
Oh, wait, whoops, that was the wrong one. Hold on. I'm looking at the matrix the wrong way. The one that I want is that one. Okay, yes, I am all set.
All right. That's a +1 for me, so that's going to make it a +3.
Yeah.
+3 at 2 to 1 odds. Here's the roll. 6. Defender retreat. So your lead unit has to retreat. Now you're going to have a choice of sending Leslie with him now, or leaving Leslie to help influence the ensuing morale check on the other guy.
Yeah.
But let's say you do that and the 35th foot passes. Yeah. Now there you are with Leslie on a 1 strength unit. Of course, we know you're going to go next.
Right. Yeah.
So it's not as dire as if this was the bottom half of a turn and we didn't know who was going to go next.
Yeah. Okay. Well, in that case, we'll have Leslie stay behind. And right. Yeah.
-1 +1.
Yep.
Passes. And he passes. Very good. Very good. The British doggedly, they don't want to give up 1 square meter.
That's right. Hold the line.
Okay. Bottom half of 6.
Yep.
For people watching, this is only a 4-turn scenario, so we're on the verge of the halfway point here.
Yep. We end at 4 p.m. Is that right? October 28th?
Okay. Yep.
All right. So now the scorched earth is going to stay that way till the end of turn. Is that correct?
Yes. And as soon as the turn is over, then it flips.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, let's do this. Let's have von Lossberg and his Fusiliers. Let's see. What have you got under McDougall? You've got 4. So we'll go 1, 2 to there. We'll have Lib Company go 1, 2 to there. Okay. And then we will, so I have to, in order to move kind of in this direction, I have to come up this way, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's...
You have to break that line.
Yeah. And what's under there? The first battalion of the Connecticut Levy. That's a regular. That's not a militia. So
it's
yeah.
State troops.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So let's have Rawl come in here, and let's bring 1 Nipausen 2, 3, and let's bring this artillery 1, 2 downhill. Right? Is 1, 2.
Yep.
3 to there, and we'll have
Yep.
these dragoons go 1, 2, 3, 4. I could bring him up to join Rawl. Do I want to do that? Would I get the DRM if he is in the attack against? No, that's only against militia, right? That he gets a DRM, the dragoons.
Yes, he would have to lead, and it would be against militia.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, if you throw him in with Rawl, you lose Rawl's demi-leader status.
Because he's not Hessian.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we'll stick with that. Let's have the 3rd Battalion Grenadiers, who are quite drunk at this point, probably make a morale check to see if they can get moving. So they need a 4 or better because they have a +1, right?
Yep.
I hope they're enjoying the beverages.
A cold press of tart pippins.
Okay. Moving into let's see, with artillery into woods is 2 always. Okay.
Yeah.
But the howitzers can fire from woods. Is that right?
Oh yes.
Okay. 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 So, and you can always move 1 hex. Is that correct?
You can, except if it's prohibited. So the artillery cannot cross the last 2 river except at a ford.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So the British foot here, I think, will just come across. That's 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Okay.
And you can go up. Well,
I could, but I don't want to.
I should keep my mouth shut because you need retreat paths.
Yeah. Exactly. So I'm going to leave them there, and we're going to have this howitzer move 1, 2, along with these Fusiliers. And do I want to move this heavy artillery or the Prince Karl? Well, it's kind of a traffic jam right now, and he's not very good. So we'll just bring the 28 foot back under Leslie, which he's allowed to do, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Okay. And then let's go ahead and bring let's go ahead.
As you're considering the balance of your move, I would remind you that rifle units are never required to attack when they're adjacent. I know you know that because you did a great after action on Germantown, and you very specifically called that out. You said, yeah, I can move a rifle up and fire without attacking, but then I would face potentially a counterattack, so I'd want to have somebody supporting the rifle. But if I do that, then I have to attack. Yeah. So I mean, you understood the dynamics of that very well as you described it. But there is a situation here where you might be able to put a rifle, down here, shooting at me without attacking up that terrible ground. If I counterattacked, would I want to come down off the hill? Right. Would I?
Do you have to, or you don't have to though, right?
Yes. I'd have to attack you. You don't have to attack me.
Down severe slope.
Yes. Combat is mandatory. I'm going to double check that on the footnotes, but combat is generally mandatory.
Yeah.
Between adjacent units. Let me see. Severe slope. It's got a bunch of footnotes here. Movement across is prohibited in the rain. G, -1 to close combat if any units are attacking up or down,
Yep.
and -2 if all units are attacking up.
All right, you've sold me. We'll go 1 with the Jaegers here, and then 3 to theirs 4.
Yeah. Now, you know, I either attack you and come down and gamble what that's going to look like, or I back up.
Yeah, which I want you to do. I mean, I would be happy with either, to be perfectly honest with you. But and then we're going to have the 3rd Battalion kind of come on top of these howitzers here for 1-2.
There is one other unit you haven't been moving. It's under your heavy guns. The Prince Carl is over there.
Yeah, I
just don't want you to forget
it's
him.
a little bit of a traffic. Yeah, thank you. His morale isn't great, and like I would much rather have the Fusiliers here kind of advance when the Scorched Earth stuff runs out. Okay. All right, so that's my move. We've got a couple combats. Well, yeah.
So I get defensive artillery fire.
That's right.
Yes.
Yep, that's right.
So, of course, we want to fire at Rahl.
Of course.
1 adjacent is a 7 to hit.
Okay.
Okay.
Naturally.
So that's going to be artillery damage versus a non-artillery target. Here's the damage roll. Ooh.
Oh.
Step loss.
Ouch. Let me just find. I'm going to pull up the. The to hit table. Here we go. Let's see. Where's the artillery fire damage? There it is. So this is what you just rolled. You just rolled a 9 versus non-RD. And if there had been a leader with him, that would have been a leader check. Am I reading that properly?
I rolled an 8.
Yeah. Oh, I see. You rolled an 8. Yeah. So it's 1 step loss.
Yes.
Okay. And
but had it been a 9, the asterisk indicates a leader casualty if there is one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that lowers my morale. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'll get that. Oh, did you do it? You got it?
It's automatic.
Oh, it's automatic.
It took care of it.
Very nice. Okay. Well,
that was defensive fire. Now it's rifle fire.
Yes. But if I do that, then I will be forced to attack. Is that correct?
No. You can take a rifle shot during the rifle fire phase.
Okay.
Then in close combat, the phasing player's rifle unit is never required to attack.
I see. Got it. And that's whether or not they fired or not, they're not required to attack.
That's correct.
Okay, great. Well, then let's take the rifle shot. So here's the to hit table again. So he is first firing, so he's going to get +1 for first fire, correct?
Yes, and
however,
select your target.
Yeah, sorry. Yep. So let's do it against the 19th Continentals here.
Yeah.
There is a DRM though for the steep slope.
Severe slope, fire combat, no effect.
Oh, no effect. Okay, great, excellent. Okay, and then he's doing first fire, so +1.
Yeah, you need rather than a 7 or better, you need a 6 or better.
6 or better. Okie dokie. Here we go. Boom.
Damage. Okay.
Nice. All right.
Now you're going to go to the rifle fire damage table versus non-artillery target.
Yep. Okay, here we go.
2.
Less good.
-1 army morale. Okay. I just lost 1. Our morales are tied.
Yep. Okay. All right. So now it's the combat phase, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So
if you right click on the Jaegers, you'll be able to take off that first fire indicator.
Yep. Yeah. There we go. Okay. So let's see. Leslie has 4. He can attack these 4. Von Lossberg has 4. He can attack those 4. I think we're just going to have some 1-to-1 attacks down the line. I think is probably the most effective way, unless if I understand diversion right, I could have 8 against 4 against McDougal with a diversion against the 19th Continentals, but then that would be a 3-to-2 if I'm not mistaken.
Well, let's see. You'd have 8 to
I think it's 8 to 4.
It would be 3. It would be 3 to 2, but I would caution you that Leslie can't command Hessians and von Lossberg can't command British. And so if those two stacks combine, which is legal, you would have no leadership.
No leadership, yeah. So is doing it with no leadership at 3 to 2 better than doing it at 1 to 1?
The other option, while you're considering, you could mass von Lossberg's group with Rall against the Connecticut levy.
Yeah.
And divert against McDougall.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's a good point. And then I would be attacking, but that would be a 1 to 2 attack, which is maybe not terrible if the modifiers are okay.
3 to 2, 6 to 2 would be 3 to 1, reduces to 2 to 1.
But doesn't what you're saying is combine the Hessians against the artillery stack there and have a diversion against McDougall, but doesn't Leslie also have to attack the 19th Continentals?
He would, and because we have one of the developers, I think it was Dave Stifler, gave us a really good table. And Cappy, if you're still on and it was you who did it, I apologize if I'm misremembering, but either you or Dave created a table, like a matrix style table in the series rulebook, that helps clarify diversion. And if you divert McDougall right there, then every attacker adjacent to the hex receiving the diversion is also penalized.
Okay.
Therefore, Leslie would be reduced in his attack here, and these guys would be reduced in their attack here, which is why diverting, Justin, in the middle of a battle line is always a non-optimum way to do it. You're better always if you can divert on the end of a line.
Yeah.
Like you did in the previous attack.
Yeah. Boy. You've got that. Those Delaware Blues are quite good.
That's why they're there.
Yeah. So here's what I think I'm going to do. Actually, I'm going to have. Can I tell me if this is legal? I can have Rall divert against the Connecticut levy, and I can have von Lossberg attack McDougall with a column penalty, and then I can have Leslie attack the 19th Continentals.
So that's not legal because when you divert, like Rall would still have to attack somebody. You can't divert and not do anything. You must divert in order to throw in on another attack.
I see.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, in that case, then I'm just going to go back to what I originally thought, and I think I'm just going to make a bunch of one-to-one attacks down the line because I think that's probably the best use of my troops. Could be. We'll see how that goes. All right. So let's start with Leslie here. My lead unit will be the 28th foot.
Okay. I'm going to play a card before we do anything else.
Okay.
I beg your pardon. I'm going out of sequence. Forgive me. Because you're the phasing player. So we need to,
I have the option
we need to, I had the bit between my teeth, but we have to do this properly. Okay. I'm sorry. Who's your lead unit? 28th?
The 28th, yeah.
All right. Well, I'll lead with the 19th Continental since you've been picking on them.
Yeah.
So you're -1 on unit morale, but you get it back for Leslie.
Yeah.
So we're even at 1 to 1. You have leadership. I'm adjacent to my leader, so I also get cards.
Yep.
However, there are no open flanks. So we are restricted to the 6 cards that are not the flank cards.
Yeah.
All right. Now it goes to you for an opportunity card if you wish to play one.
I will not.
Okay. I'm going to play a card.
Okay. Volley fire. No. No die is roll. Enemy lead unit retreats. Other enemy units make morale checks as normal. If the defender's hex is vacated, the American lead unit only may advance, but is not required to do so. Okay.
So your lead unit, so that ends combat.
Yep.
Your lead unit must retreat.
Yep. Back down the hill.
And you do a morale
check at +1. But -1 because the unit's morale is -1. So it's a flat roll.
It's a flat roll.
Oh, and he fails.
He fails.
So it's a the morale check failure is
It's a retreat.
Retreat. Okay.
Now the 19th has the option to advance.
Yeah. I have a quick question about that actually. The card says if the defender's hex is vacated, but I was the attacker in that case.
You're the attacker writ large, but you're the defender in the receiving the volley fire.
I see. Okay. Gotcha. So not the defender in the combat, the defender, like the person who the card is affecting.
Yes.
Got it.
And you know what? I'm going to do it.
Okay.
Next combat.
Okay. Let's do von Lossberg here. He's attacking McDougal. So you've got my lead unit is going to be the Live Company.
Okay. Let's see. My lead unit is the Delaware Blues.
Naturally.
So you are -1.
Yep. Our leaders cancel.
Leaders cancel. We both have leadership, but there are no flanks.
Yep.
It goes to you as the phasing player if you want to play a card.
I will not.
All right. Now, if I play one that does not end combat, you still can play one. You did.
Yeah.
We have to pass in succession.
Right. Yeah.
So I am going to play a card.
Okay. Saving them for a critical moment. Stone walls.
Another -1 to your attack.
Okay, so I'm at -2.
-2 at 1-1. Do you wish to play a card?
Yeah, Mark. Yeah, I guess Mark is betting on winning the initiative. I will not play one, no.
All right. So now it goes to tactics.
Yeah.
Everything's available except flanks.
Yep. And I'm at -2.
Yeah, 1-1 -2.
Okay. Okay, let me just think about this.
You know what? I'm looking in the wrong column.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
No. Okay. All right. I think I know which one I'm going to do. Oops. There we go. Nah, come on. There we go.
Oh, brother.
Yeah, and also yes, for everyone watching, I do realize that if Mark decided to look at the streaming screen that he's got, he could see my chits, but he's probably too professional for that.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm looking on my Vassal.
On your Vassal
screen.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, you ready to reveal?
Yep. That's a +1.
Yes.
Boy, I didn't expect that. Wow.
Good. All right, so I'm -1 now overall. Is that correct?
Yeah.
-2 because you have the card as well. Because I was -3.
It was minus. It was -3.
It was -2 overall because it was -1 for the morale and then -1 for the card.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm now at just -1. Okay.
That's what I thought. Yes.
Okay, great. All right, so -1 on this attack against McDougal, and we are we're 1-1.
1-1. Yep.
Not in my favor, but here we go.
Ooh.
2 is a D result.
Yes, attacker disrupted.
Okay.
Now that's going to be your lead unit.
Mm.
And when you mark him disrupted, the Army morale track will automatically adjust.
Yeah.
And he'll have to retreat 3 hexes.
The lead unit will?
The one that was disrupted.
Yep. Let's get them there. Okay, and my retreat directions are going to be... I can go... Let's see, let me just look at the top of the map real quick. I can go... Yeah, okay. So he can go 1, 2, 3, right?
Yes, he can. Now, right. Lossberg can either go with him or stay to influence the rally check. But notice we are on the bottom half of a turn and we don't know who's going to go next.
Yep, I'm going to stay where I am. One quick question about that retreat. Could I have gone 1, 2, 3 to there?
Yes.
Okay, I'm actually going to
put him there if you want to.
Do that instead, yeah.
Okay.
All right, and we got one last attack here, which is Rawl versus, put him on top so we don't forget these Connecticut levies.
1-1 even.
Yep, but I can play, there's an open flank here.
Yes.
Okay. So.
No, because that's prohibited.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay.
But it's not prohibited to me.
Okay.
Which means you can play if you suspect it, you can play refuse flank. You just can't play turn flank.
Oh, really? Is that true? You can play refuse flank? Would I get the benefit? Like if it was a positive die roll, would I get the benefit of that?
Yeah, if I turned flank and you refused flank, you would get a +2 to your attack.
A quick question. Was I supposed to roll a morale check for the disrupted unit before he retreated? Or is disruption automatic retreat?
The 3 hex retreat on a disrupted unit is automatic. You do owe a rally a morale check, however, for
for the units that are sitting there. Yeah, okay. Let me do that real quick.
Adding 2.
Yep. Because he's a +1 in the leader. Yeah, okay. Okay, passed. Yeah. There we go. Thank you for that reminder, Todd. Thank you. Okay, so back to where we were. So even though that doesn't count as a flank for me, I can still play refuse flank.
Yes, if you suspect you can't enter this hex, therefore turning the flank via that hex is not available to you. But since I can enter that hex,
okay,
all you're doing is refusing in the hex you're in.
I see. So does that mean then that, so if I bring up the matrix here, the refuse flank, so my understanding when I played previously was that the ones in the darker green, you could only do if you had a leader and there was an open flank available to you. But what you're saying is if the enemy has an open flank and is eligible for turn and refuse flank, you as even if you aren't allowed to play them, you can still refuse the flank if it's open?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
The rationale for the cards was constructed around attacking, so to say. So, you can't play those unless there's an open flank so that you can attack.
Okay.
But it's playable to me.
Yeah.
You're not entering that space.
Yeah.
I see no reason why you can't refuse the flank if you suspect that I'm going to turn it.
Yeah. Okay. Alrighty. Am I going to play a card? That's the question.
That's the next thing.
Yeah. I will not play a card.
Neither will I. So now we move to tactics.
So Robert says you still need a leader, which I have because he's a demi leader.
He's a demi leader, and you're adjacent to Lossberg anyway, which would have qualified.
Sure. Yeah. Right. Okay. Okay.
And I'm adjacent to McDougal. Yeah. Hence, I could turn the flank because of that adjacency. But
Okay. Okay. All right, I've got mine.
I don't have mine. All right. What the hell? What the hey? What the hey? Here we go. Whoops, that's the wrong one. This is the one I want. Okay.
Yep. Thank you, Robert. Okay, here we go. Reveal.
Yeah.
No one wants to get engaged over there. All right, so that's a 0, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just again -1. Sorry, no, even.
It's even.
Even. All right, 1-1, even. Surely I can roll better than a 2. Surely. Yeah, that's better. So that's an R result.
Defender retreat. I'll go there because I could go down here, but why would I?
Mm-hmm.
Now I'll roll for Hamilton, and he's a -2 to the die roll. And he's got to go there. Lead unit must advance.
Done.
Okay.
The real question is, can I win the initiative on this turn? Oh, Scorched Earth becomes no longer on fire. Is that
Yes,
right?
we're going to flip that over. It's -1 MP to enter. It's no longer treated as wooded as far as providing cover from fire.
Okay.
And if a defender occupies the smoldering hex and is attacked there, the attacker gets a die roll modifier advantage of 1.
Got it. And in the rally phase, I need to roll for Live Company. Is that correct?
That's right. Rally follows movement. So the next thing is initiative for turn 7.
Oh, right. Okay.
Nobody has momentum.
Right.
So it's a straight roll. We're both adding 1, of course.
You get some reinforcements, though, this turn?
But only on my half
your
of the
turn. On your half of the turn. Gotcha.
So if you go first, they're not on the board yet.
Yeah. I probably am not going first with a roll like that.
You roll 2?
I did.
I wasted a 9.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd much rather you roll that for the initiative than in combat.
All right. It put them on the it automatically put them on the objective hex, but I do have some options, which I will do in a moment.
Okay.
I'll consider anyway. All right.
I consider this the designer's luck touch. This happens to me all the time in my game when I'm playing someone else. I just, for whatever reason, the dice are like, yes, father, sixes only.
Okay. Let me see that. My choices are, they have to be on or north of the Dobbs Ferry Road, subject to stacking limits, not adjacent to enemy combat units, and may not move on their turn of placement. So we're going to put the militia there. And we'll leave the 16th Continental on the hex for the moment anyway.
Okay.
All right, it's my movement phase. See, if I remain in contact, I have to attack.
Yep.
And look at that rifle unit. It's a +2 unit morale. That's
good.
That's Ewald. He was everywhere in the war.
Really?
Everywhere. Northern Theater, Southern Theater, everywhere.
Wow.
Oh, what am I going to do here? I think what we're going to do is put the levies here.
Welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
With the immortals and the battery.
Mm.
You can move directly from one rifle zoc to another rifle zoc, but excuse me, you can move directly from zoc to zoc, but entering or leaving rifle zocs costs +1 MP.
+1, yeah.
So 1 to leave, 1 to go there, and 1 to re-enter the rifle zoc. It's 3 movement points total to go from there to there.
Which, even if you didn't have the movement points, you could have moved 1 hex.
You
anyway,
can always
right?
move 1,
yeah.
but just to elaborate on the mechanics.
Sure.
The unit that was there was the 3rd New York, and it's going to back up. Let's go ahead and get the militia out of there, put them there. And Delaware is going there. And McDougal is going there.
Okay.
All right. Defensive artillery fire.
Yeah, so I have got howitzers here, I believe. Yep. And the British howitzers, where were they? Up here. So these 2 howitzers are going to combine. 1, 2, 3. We're going to target the Delaware Blues.
Okay.
So let's get the rifle. I can find it. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so that is 3. I think it's 3 points of howitzer fire. Yeah, 3 points.
Yep.
SP's firing 3 hexes away. I need a 7 or better.
Yep.
That is not it.
You've been throwing 7s on artillery fire.
Yeah, a lot of your guys are really good at keeping their heads down.
Yeah.
All right, let's have the heavy artillery, naval guns fire at the 19th Continentals underneath the Delaware Blues. I think that's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So 4 at 4 is 8 plus, or with the -1, I need a 9. Did not get it. That's my artillery fire.
Okay, rifles.
Yes. Rifles will. I can fire at the Delaware Blues.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We will do that. Yeah, we'll fire at them.
Okay. Need a 7.
Yep. That's a 0.
Okay. I have 1 attack. 4 against 1 against the Jaegers.
Rifles. Yep.
I am not leading with the Delaware Blues. I'm leading with the 19th Continental.
Okay.
Which is -1 on unit morale.
Yep.
I get it back because you're a black circled rifle.
Mm.
If you were a white circled rifle, which is not available in this particular scenario, but they are in this game and in other games, white circled rifles are not penalized. because they have, they're either mixed musket rifle formations, or in the case of Rangers and units like that, they have tomahawks and short swords and things like that. Fraser's Rangers for the British. I mean, not Fraser. Ferguson's rifles for the British. That rifle has bayonets, but most rifles don't.
Got it.
So +1 for unit morale, -1 for unit morale, +1 because I'm attacking a rifle. Then I'm penalized coming down that slope. -2. Well, no, I'm not attacking up, I'm attacking down. So I'm only going to get the -1 if any are attacking up or down.
Yeah.
It's -2 if all are attacking up.
Okay.
So so it's a net -1 at 4-1.
Yep.
Now, you don't have leadership because Leslie can't command him.
Yep.
But I'm adjacent to McDougall, so I have leadership, and there's open flanks.
Yep.
Here and here.
Yep.
It's to me whether I want to play an opportunity card first, and I do not. So it's over to you.
I do not.
Okay. Tactics cards. Let's see. What do I want to do? 4-1 -1.
This could either go very poorly or very well.
Not that one. That's a maybe. That's a maybe.
Todd, this is the second to last turn. So he is the top half of the second to last turn. I'm going to go after him, and we've got one more turn after that.
All righty. The big reveal.
Yes. Here we go.
Yes!
You out.
I beg the viewing audience to forgive my outburst, but that was pretty exciting.
Yeah. He went frontal assault. Here, I'll show you. He went frontal assault there, and I went skirmish, and I thought for sure he would not go frontal assault. I thought for sure he would think I would withdraw, and so I assumed that he would know that I would choose withdraw, so I chose something else, and that's an oops.
So I was -1.
Yeah.
That card play gives me +2, so it's a net +1 at 4-1 after all.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt.
All right, here we go.
Most likely.
That's an 8.
It's gonna hurt.
Step loss and a leader if present. Now, you'll notice that you just took a step loss, and he's a 1 strength point unit, and he's not gone off the map board.
Yep.
The second Jaeger is such an elite unit, and there's and the Delaware are the same. They're 1 strength point units, which when they take a hit, they flip over, but they're still 1 strength point units. Now you dropped your morale from 2 to 1, but I don't think your army morale was even adjusted by that. I mean, it's like a free pip.
Yeah.
You get a free pip on the second Jaegers, and I get that same free pip were you to hit the Delaware Blues.
Interesting. Okay.
Which, when you know the game and you know the counters, you can maneuver in such a way as to take advantage of units that can give you better advantage.
And actually, that even makes my decision to move up to the steep slope probably even better than I thought it was going to be, because the risk of them being eliminated is less since they can take a hit.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I was really preferring a retreat or a disruption, because then I would have had my line would have been like this,
Yeah.
which would have plugged you up. But as it is, there's a chink in the armor right there.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm hoping I can bring the pain this turn for me.
All right. Well, that's that. So we come to the bottom half of 7.
Yep. And you said that rally is after my movement, which
That
for the
rally is
disruption thing?
after movement. Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay, so let's start with the 3rd Battalion, just because it's funny at this point. So we'll see if they can stop drinking. They do not.
Oh my God.
They're the MVPs of this game, I would say. Okay,
I would say that the colonel has probably got his eye on on the youngest daughter of Squire Dreespot over there at this point. God.
Yeah, that's certainly a thing. Okay, well, I think what I'm going to do here is, all right, we're going to have, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to have Rawl. I do have this light battalion at +1. He's not bad. Got the 5th foot, also not bad. Actually, I've got both of these guys. So I'm going to start with them. They can go 1, 2 because of the smoldering.
Yes.
Right? And then 3, 4 up to there.
Yes.
I'm going to have Leslie join them. Then let's do... let's have this howitzer move there. That's 1, 2, and he's got to stop. This howitzer can go 1, 2, 3. Oh, but you can't more than 1 artillery piece in a hex.
Right.
But he could stack with the Dilfrith Fusiliers.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So he's gonna do that. And then I think what I'm going to do is move Rawl into there, and have Niphausen come 1, 2, 3 to there. And Rawl counts as a leader, but if I put von Lossberg on top of him, then I get the +1 for von Lossberg.
Yep.
Right? Okay. So we'll do that. And then we will go with this guy. So I don't have to pay the upslope because I'm moving along a trail here, right?
That's right.
1, 2. We'll put them there. The point blank field gun action, and we will put. Haven't moved the Lossberg Fusiliers. We'll go there with them, and we'll have the Dragoons join them. And we will move finally. I think with the heavy artillery, I can move them up here, which is probably what I want to do. Okay. So now I have to do rally on this guy.
Yep.
+1.
Nope.
Okay, cool. Okay. So combat.
Nope.
Actually, sorry, defensive artillery fire. Thank you.
Defensive fire. Well, if I fire at your guns, let's see, what's your morale right now? Yeah, you've got plenty of morale.
Yeah, we both do.
I guess the smart thing to do is fire at Niphausen. So 1 adjacent, I need a 7 to hit. And damage.
Unbelievable.
Versus a non-artillery target is going to be an 8. That's a disruption.
Against
Niphausen.
Okay. Yeah. And then he retreats 3, is that right?
Yeah.
Ugh. That's not what I wanted to see at all. Oops, sorry. I'm just going to grab both of you. There we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
You went one too many.
I did 1, 2. I did. I sure did. There we go.
Now, did you right click on him and disrupt him?
I did not. Let me do that.
Yeah, because the army morale didn't move. There you go.
Oh, if that's the case, he should also have that on him because, yeah. I never right clicked on the first guy who was disrupted either, the light company.
Okay.
So
Okay.
my morale is at 16. Yeah.
Yeah. The module will take care of it when you assign the damage to the units by right clicking.
Okay, great. I'm so used to old, like I don't play on Vassal a lot. I'm used to old Vassal where like a lot of this stuff wasn't built in. So this is quite the quality of life is nice.
Well, Rob Doan is our Vassal engineer for the whole series, and he's great.
Awesome.
All right, that was my defensive. It's now rifle fire.
Yep. So we're gonna fire the Delaware Blues. So adjacent, need a 7.
Yeah.
There we go.
There it is. Right. There it is.
Now let's see if this actually does anything. It does not. It's just Army morale.
Army morale. Let me select it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, combats.
Now, of course, you have to declare them before resolving.
Yeah. So obviously here, have to attack. Which we're gonna do. God, it's gonna be bad. Okay. Boy. So now what I could do, again, coming back to the diversion thing, I could. No, I couldn't do it with von Lossberg because he has to attack these guys. So there's no. Right.
Well, you can't. If you divert here, then Lossberg and Leslie could combine attack here.
Okay.
But you wouldn't have leadership.
Right, because they're combined, yeah. But that would be better. 6,
and
7,
the Jaegers don't have to attack, and why would they? So
right.
So the fact that
they might in this particular instance because I can get a column if they do that I would then be. So right now it's 2 to 1 column shifted to 3 to 2 if the Jaegers get thrown in. Oh, but then they'd have to attack the 1st New York as well, right? So yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's right. You're only allowed a single diversion hex per game turn on a battlefield. Yeah, so you might need 6 diversions. You only get 1.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. So von Lossberg is just going to have to take it how it comes. So let's go ahead and do that one first.
Okay. Well, you're a 2.
Yep.
And I'm a 5. So that's 1 to 3, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Your lead unit is yourself. My lead unit is going to be the Connecticut levies.
Okay.
And so morales are even.
Yep.
You get +1 for Lossberg.
Mm-hmm. And you don't get +1 for McDougal because it's only his hex.
Nope. I'll get cards.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm at +1 right now.
You're 1 to 3. +1 at 1 to 3. Now, do you want to play an opportunity card?
I do not.
Neither do I.
Okay.
Looks like we're saving for the final throw. So we go to tactics. Everything's available to me, and everything but turn flank is available to you.
Mm-hmm. That's true. The die does mean nothing until it does. I do. There is no such thing as just army morale hits. Well, I mean, with as short of this battle is, and as poorly as I have been rolling on my artillery fire, it's a consolation prize at best to me. I feel like. But you never know. Like if Mark could just if his die would be less than 7 when he rolls, something nice might happen.
Did somebody quote you the Miklos axiom?
Which is
It's never the dice. But then there's the Doan corollary, which is until it is.
yeah, he did. He did. Yeah, it's the die means nothing until it does. Was his
Yeah.
version.
All right. I don't want to bog the game down, but this is an important pick.
Sure is.
I got to have this hex. I got to hold it. I got to hold it. What would you? Yeah.
He says, "Tell him it was Walter Clayton."
Oh, thanks, Walter. How's the sailboat? All right, I've decided. Let me pick it here. Okie dokie.
Here we go.
I gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
-1.
Yeah. So I'm now even at 1 to 3.
That's right.
Okay. Well, come on, high die roll.
Oh, not bad.
7 RR.
Yes. So in a mutual retreat, the defender retreats first. So the levies will retreat. The immortals are going to add 1 to their die roll.
Mm-hmm.
They hold the hex. Hamilton's artillery will subtract 2 from his die roll. He fails.
Mm.
He's going to retreat to the hilltop.
Mm-hmm. Then I have to do it for Rawl and his units, right?
Yes. Now, Rawl must retreat. The artillery doesn't even roll. It just sits there.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was not an attacking unit.
Yeah.
And I'm glad, and of course you'll take the leader with you. You don't want to leave him on an unsupported gun.
Yeah.
I'm glad this happened, Justin, for a little coaching for the folks watching, and it's always a little risky to put an artillery piece in an attacking hex because something like this might occur. You are forced to retreat. Maybe the lead unit disrupts or retreats, and the other guys, lo and behold, they failed their morale checks, and everybody runs away, and the gun is left behind. Now, if you happen to go next, no harm, no foul. If I go next, I could declare close combat against that unsupported gun. You will get defensive fire, but assuming I survive it, I then step in and capture it. Whereas in my hex, as a defender, my artillery does roll for a morale check, and it failed, and it had to leave.
Yeah.
But guns are never involved in an attack, only in a defense, you see.
Yeah, I have a question about that because that was, I think, when I first learned this system, that was the one thing to me that was pretty atypical for war games that of kind of this general era. What's sort of the design philosophy behind that about the rule of artillery?
Yeah, and it was the result of extensive conversations with artillery reenactors at Saratoga, as a matter of fact.
Oh.
And then subsequent study and research and whatnot. Long-range preparatory artillery fire, very, very, very ineffective. Very ineffective, generally. Guns of this caliber, of this design, of this weight, in this period are effective at close range with grape and canister shot. That's why you jump from a 1 strength point gun needing a 7 adjacent to a 9, even just 1 hex away. So you want to position your, and then you may say, well, do I never get to use guns in a preparatory fashion? Yes, you do. If you fire defensively on the bottom half of a game turn, and then you get initiative, you have in effect prepared the enemy position with fire and perhaps caused someone to retreat. Now you're the phasing player.
Yeah.
You can attack a weakened position. So
Yeah.
there's a way to skin the cat. But as far as just the premise of I'm going to lay back and do all sorts of long range fire and soften somebody up, it's very, very ineffective.
Interesting. Yeah, I had never considered the turn sequence there as sort of a not an abstraction, but a representation of how artillery could be used, quote unquote, offensively. Cool.
All right. So where are we?
We are. So that was von Lossberg's attack. So now
was it mutual retreat?
It was, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and
the Immortals stood. The Connecticut levies retreated, and Lamb Hamilton.
Then it went to you, and then you fell. Okay.
Yeah,
next attack. Yep.
Yep. Leslie. So this starts at a 6-3. So that's a 2-1. My lead unit is going to be, let's say, the Royal Berkshire.
All right.
I assume you're picking the Delaware.
Well, of course, I'll lead with Delaware.
Yep. So that's -1 for me right now. I get Leslie, which makes it even.
Yeah.
And I think that's it.
Yeah. Do you want to play an opportunity card?
I will not.
Nor will I.
Okay. So tactics.
Yes, now there's no flanks for anybody.
Right.
But I'm adjacent to McDougal, so I get them.
But the Delaware Blues are also a demi leader as well, right?
For themselves and militia that they're stacked with.
Okay, but because you're with 19th, got it.
Yeah, did I screw that up in a previous turn? I might have, and I apologize if I did.
It's fine. It's okay.
Yeah, if I did, it was unintentional. I've been pulling the militia out of the line, so I may have been stacked, but I think I've been adjacent to McDougal regardless.
Yeah.
So I don't think I don't think I'm in error. All right.
Okay.
All right. Ready?
Yep.
+1.
Great.
Well done.
All right. So I am +1 overall.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. This is going to be 2-1 at +1.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
There's momentum.
There's momentum.
All right.
Oh, my.
That's what I was looking for.
That's a 10. Step loss and a leader if present.
Ooh. Well, does he count as a demi leader?
No.
For that?
No. Mm-hmm. But you'll watch. I'm gonna articulate a step loss for him, and you'll see that he stays in the game.
Yeah.
He's flipped over. Now you'll notice that when the second Jaeger flipped, they kept their 1 strength point, but their morale dropped.
Yeah.
When the Delaware Blues flipped, they kept their 1 strength point and their crack morale.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Yeah, but now both of our crack units have been damaged. So if they're damaged again, that's it. All right, now I have to do a morale check for the 19th Continental, adding 1 to the die roll. They fail. Ooh. There is room to go back without overstacking. Let's see.
I like to see that.
Wow. Okay, and I'm assuming the Jaegers are not attacking.
They are not.
Okay. All right. Well, now, top of the last turn.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to save that momentum shit for. I'd love to save that momentum shit for a combat, but I feel like I have to use it here. Because I can't, I mean, at this point, with the way the morale is, I don't think I can get you down to, yeah. I don't think I can get you down to wavering before the game is over unless something really cataclysmic happens.
No,
So
that's not going to happen for either of us.
yeah. So the other option is during rally, I could use the momentum to draw a card,
Yeah.
which is hoping I top deck something that. All right, I'm gonna use it for the initiative.
All right. You're adding 3 in effect. I'm adding 1. Oh no.
Come on. Yeah, of
Hmm.
course.
Now, I'll tell you, in tournament play,
Uh-huh.
especially when
Uh-huh.
that happens,
Yeah.
someone agonizes over, they only have one momentum chit,
Uh-huh.
and they agonize over the expenditure of it, and they decide to use it for initiative, and they
Uh-huh.
don't get it.
Uh-huh.
That it can be so deflating,
Yeah.
when that
Yeah.
happens. It just,
Yeah.
if you have 2, you're in high cotton because I'll spend 1, I'll risk it. I still have 1 for an adverse die roll.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if for some reason that first attack hadn't been militia, remember I rolled a 10 on that. If it had been a regular, I would have had a second one right now. But that's the way it goes.
All right. So now, but see, I mean, what am I going to do, right?
Right.
Because
And the artillery that's under McDougal, even though it's on the hill, it doesn't have line of sight or does have line of sight?
no, it has no line of
No
sight
line of
currently
sight.
to
Okay.
anybody.
It could fire on my heavy artillery, I assume.
My range is only 3.
3. Okay.
I'm not heavy.
Mm.
Oh, so boy, this is let's see. You'd be 1. I'd be 1 to 1 plus 1, but it would force the action away from the hill, which I think I have to do because otherwise
Mm-hmm.
if I don't force the action on the line it's currently on,
Yeah. Yeah.
you'll attack the hilltop, and I can't. I got to play to win.
Yeah.
So let's see. Let's do it this way because of stacking. What we're going to do is take 2. And then we're going to bring this first New York 1 strength point for 3 movement points over here.
Mm.
That's going to give me 2, 4. 6. Not him. 6. 2, 4, 6. With McDougal. And then we're going to take the 3rd New York. And Brooks Militia over there. And then these guys over here. And that's it. Defensive artillery fire.
Yeah. It's an interesting call.
Hold it. Hold it.
Yep.
Hold it.
Holding.
Hold it. I'm going to put Mosley up here.
Yeah.
All right. Now proceed.
Yeah. So okay, let's start with the heavy marine artillery up here.
Yeah.
It is going to fire at the Ball's Flying Camp, or Beale's Flying Camp, whatever his name is.
Okay, 4 at 3. So that's a legitimate shot. So I have to do a morale check to see if I stand to receive the fire.
Yeah.
My morale is 0, but I'm stacked with Continentals, so I'll get to add 1. I hold to receive the fire. So go ahead and blast away.
Okay, so it's a 7, but I need an 8 because I'm -1.
Yep.
No.
Nope.
Okay, next, Rawls guns are going to fire at the Delaware Blues adjacent.
Okay. All
I
right.
need a 7.
Yeah.
No.
Damn.
That's annoying. Okay. All right. The howitzers are going to combine. That's going to be a range 3. So they're going to fire at the 16th Continentals in the stack, the big stack there.
The 16th?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they need a 7 to hit. No.
Yikes.
Yeah.
All right. Rifle fire.
Yep. I'm going to aim at the Delaware Blues again.
Yep.
So here we go.
Oh, what a string of 4-3, 4-3. Oh my.
The infamous Vassal random number generator strikes again.
All right. So this stack is going to attack the guns.
Yeah.
McDougal is going to attack Leslie. And this stack is going to attack the Jaegers.
Okay.
We'll go for the guns first. My lead unit is going to be the Immortals.
Mm-hmm.
So they just step in and capture the guns.
I don't get a shot. There's no defensive fire there. Oh, I already did the defensive fire.
You did it.
Yeah.
You did it, big fella.
Yep.
That's why I, did a sigh of relief.
Yeah.
All right. So they'll move in, and I got to decide now if the problem is if I get flanked. I'm not going to send Connecticut up in there just in case McDougal does not prevail.
Okay.
So here it's 6-6, 1-1, and my lead unit is going to be Delaware.
Okay. Obviously, my lead unit will be the Royal Berkshire.
Okay, I've got +1. Leaders cancel. We both have leadership. There's no flanks. I do not want to play an opportunity card.
I will not either.
Okay. So we go to the tactics deck.
What's the DRM right now? Just even?
It's +1 for me on morale. Yeah. 1-1 +1.
Okay.
All right. Plus another.
Yeah.
+1 +2. Here's the roll.
Yeah.
10.
Wow.
God.
You get a momentum.
I do. I'm going to go fetch it, and it's you need to assign yourself 1 step loss to your lead unit.
Got it. And then I have to make a morale check for the other one.
Yes.
Okay, so +2 on that one. Passes.
There's your 9.
Yeah, wonderful.
All right, the last attack is against the 2nd Jaeger. This is a 4-1 attack. I'm leading with 3rd New York, so the morales are even. I get +1 for attacking a rifle unit. I get -1 for coming down severe slope.
Yeah.
You have no leadership. I do.
Yeah.
So you have what our friend Bruno, who is a cadre player and the lead designer on cow pens,
Mm.
he calls those basic 4 chits the cruddy chits.
Yeah, they sure are.
They're not really. I mean, it's just in how you use them, but
Yeah.
that's what he calls them. And I have all of the others. So
Yeah. Okay. I assume you're not going to want to play a card on this combat.
beg your pardon. I do not want to play a card. How about you?
No, I don't.
All right. You got me finally. I hadn't shown turn flank yet.
Mm.
And I thought, I've lulled him to sleep. But no, you were ready for me. And of course, what else would the Jaegers do but skirmish?
Exactly.
Right down to it.
Exactly.
All right. So it's a net -1.
Yeah. On 4-1.
Yes.
Okay.
Here's the roll. Whoops.
Ooh.
-1. Now hold on before you get fancy.
Uh-huh.
That would give you momentum.
Right.
And I would be disrupted.
Yeah.
And the main thing is I don't want you to have momentum. I don't object to being disrupted, but I don't want you going into the last half turn with momentum.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to spend it to reroll.
You can use the one you just got to reroll.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay.
As long as I have it in the bank, I can use it.
So the order of operations then is you roll the dice, you get your momentum, and then you have that option to spend the one you just got to re-roll the die that caused you. Wait, you had a momentum?
Yeah.
Oh, from the attack previous on the turn. Yeah. Sorry, I forgot that. Yeah. Gotcha.
So I earned momentum.
Yeah.
Then I declared a combat. Then there was a momentum decision that follows the result of the combat die roll.
Yeah, I forgot that you had gotten one from a previous attack in the turn.
Yeah. And so there it is. I'm going to re-roll it.
Yeah.
And what was the net? -1.
-1, yeah.
Oh no! Okay, so turnabout is fair play, right?
The dreaded random vassal number generator.
All right, so give yourself a momentum chit.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm disrupted.
Yeah.
All right, I got to go 3. 1, 2, 3. And a morale check on Beale's flying camp with a 0 mod.
Fast.
Oh, but wait, hold it.
Yeah.
Wait.
Something
else is going to happen.
Is this the militia thing?
We finally in the game have our first opportunity to look at militia resolve.
Yeah.
When Patriot militia combat units are located in or adjacent to defending close combat hexes where the lead unit suffers a D, they are impacted in the following ways. Patriot militia in the defending hex, which is Beale, have their close combat modified by -1 in addition to other modifiers. Well, my die roll of 9 would have been fine for him. I would do a morale check now. I rolled a 9, -1 because I was in a stack with a disrupted unit. But I've got Mosley's militia adjacent.
Yeah. On the hill.
He also has to check. Okay?
Yep.
And Patriot militia adjacent to the attacked hexes but not involved in the close combat also check morale as if they were defending, therefore prior to advance after combat, but without the -1 modifier.
Yeah. So we're talking Mosley's here. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I apologize to the audience as well. I'm getting flustered. I'm the phasing player. I was attacking you.
Right.
Everything I'm reading about militia
They
resolve
are
in Rule
attacked.
4.5 only applies when we are defending.
Yeah.
You attack me, you cause a disruption to a defender. Then my militia adjacent or stacked with those defenders could be affected and could
Yeah.
retreat,
Yeah.
not attackers.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
They've already tested their resolve in making the attack, so they're not
that's right.
like, yeah,
That's right.
okay.
And I apologize, folks, for that. Sorry. Okie dokie. Well, that's that. That was all of my attacks. It's now the bottom half of the last game turn, and you are up.
Did you attack? Did you attack? You attacked. You did attack Leslie. He took a step loss. Yeah. Right. Or
Yeah, I did. And
yeah.
the other guy passed his morale
Yeah.
check.
That's right. Okay. All right. Last half of the turn. Here we go. Hmm. Well, I gotta do something. I think the answer is he needs to come here. 1 plus 3 is 4. My artillery's already fired. Royal Berkshire. Well, I can bring the. You can leave zones of control, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just look at one thing here. That's 3. All right. What I'm actually going to do is just bring the 35th foot up here. And if there's a mixed stack, you don't get leadership, right?
Right.
Okay.
Now, in the game of White Plains, in the other scenarios, there are more senior leaders, wing commanders and army commanders, and those kind of guys can command
Okay.
internationally, but these brigade commanders cannot.
Cannot. Okay. Let's try and get the 3rd Battalion just for fun because let's see if they're done drinking yet. Finally, they're done drinking.
They're going to stagger forward.
They are. Okay. Off in the wrong direction. Okay. I think one more question. Does to benefit from leadership, the lead unit has to be with the leader? Is that correct?
No, the leader merely has to be stacked in any of the hexes that are participating in the combat.
Okay.
He doesn't have to be on the lead unit.
Okay. Got it. And what have you got under there? You've got 3, 4, 5, 6. Excuse me. I guess the one other thing I could do is I can move the Jaegers there.
Oh yeah.
And I can move these guys here.
Yeah, that's a better play.
Yeah. So that's what we're gonna do. And then Prince Carl's here, but he's not gonna do much. I do have the Dilford Fusiliers. I don't think they can get into anywhere useful. Let me just double check that one. Yeah. Could I get hold on 1 second? I'm just gonna hide the units real quick. 1, 2. Well, actually, they could get somewhere useful. They could go. Oops. They could go 1 to here. They can move through disrupted units, right?
Oh yeah.
2. And then 3 under Lossberg, I believe, is allowed.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. You got to pay for slope.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, thank you.
Oh,
Oh,
nope. You can't do that. You'd be overstacked. Nifhausen, who is
oh
disrupted, is
yeah,
4 strength points, and the
right.
Fusiliers are 4.
I actually moved him earlier in the turn, so I'd have to not move him. He was they both of the disrupted units are back here.
Okay.
And so
Now you can do it.
that would be okay. All right. Okay. I think this is the last gasp. So the combats we're going to be doing.
Well, rally first.
Rally, thank you. Yeah, so let's do this one. This is the Live Company +1. He rallies.
You right click on them, and you'll get
Yep.
your point back.
Got that. Nibhausen +1. He's also rallied.
Look at those 9s now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the rifles do not have to attack, right?
That's right.
But
for the record, I have defensive artillery fire, but I have no shot.
That's right. Okay,
I have no shot.
Okay.
Now it's rifle fire.
Yeah. Rifle. Okay, so we'll shoot Beale's flying camp.
Yeah.
Need a 7. I did not get it.
Too many 9s a minute ago.
That's right. That's right. Okay. And then so for attacks, the second Jaegers are actually going to attack Beale's flying camp.
Okay.
So that this stack and this stack can attack McDougal.
Okay.
And then Lossberg and the Lossberg Fusiliers are going to attack the Immortals.
Okay.
So let's do the Immortals combat first.
So
I've got 6. I have 9 tier 3, so that's 3 to 1.
Yes.
Leadership is +1. Oh, my lead unit is going to be the Lossberg Fusiliers, so we're even there. And von Lossberg gives +1, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So 3 to 1 +1 net.
Yeah. I am not going to play a card.
I wonder if you have. I wonder if you're holding the local superiority card. Because I'm going to play a card.
Okay.
Now, before I lay it down,
I
want to just recap. You have declared all your attacks.
I have, yeah.
And none have been resolved yet.
Correct.
All right. Chaos on the battlefield. Okay. All right. All attacking units up and down this line have to do pre-attack morale checks. If they fail, they retreat 1 hex. Among those who remain, when you make the attack, you got a built-in -1 DRM.
Yeah. That's a hell of a card to have drawn.
Yeah. Now, if you have local superiority, you can cancel it.
Yeah, but I do not.
Do you wish to play any kind of card?
I do not.
Okay.
Not for this combat. Oh, well, yeah, not for the combat I was resolving, but I have to do all these morale checks first, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So Lossberg Fusiliers here, they're +1. They pass.
Who's good. Yeah.
Dilfirth, they're +1 for the leader. They pass. Rawl is +1 and +1 for the leader, +2. Pass.
Wow.
Let's go Jaegers. They're going to be +1. They pass. Here's where I'm a little worried. 28 foot is nothing. They pass.
Oh, no. Wow.
3rd Battalion Light Infantry is +1. They pass.
My God, man. Jeez.
35th foot is -1, but +1 for Leslie. So even. They are going to retreat, which if anyone's going to retreat, I don't mind it being them.
1 hex only. Yeah.
Yep. 5th foot is going to be +2. They pass. And the Royal Berkshire is at +1. They pass as well.
Wow. Well, that's fantastic, Justin.
Well, yeah. I mean, the -1 isn't going to be good.
Nope.
Okay, so back to Lossberg's combat here. I am not going to play. My lead unit is obviously the Lossberg Fusiliers. I'm not going to play a card. Did you want to play? Yeah, I don't think you have any left, right?
I have none left.
Okay.
That was my card.
Yeah, right. But it was before we resolve any specific battle, right? Like
That's
before.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have no more cards, so.
So it's 3-1. I'm getting +1 for Lossberg, and I think that's where we're at for tactics.
That's
right?
where we're at.
I have no open flank, so I can only do up to frontal and commit reserve.
Yeah.
Okay.
+1 for you.
Okay. So I'm
That's
+2.
Yeah.
On 3-1. Here we go. 6. It's a D.
Defender disrupted, it looks like. 3-1 with a 6.
Yep.
Does anybody have momentum at this point? You have 1.
I have 1, yeah.
But you'll take a disruption here.
Yeah.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Lead unit must advance. Other units may.
Mm-hmm. All right. Next attack, let's do the Jaegers and just get that out of the way.
Well, yeah, because if you surround me, I'm a dead duck.
Yeah. I don't think this is going to go well, but so that's going to be a 1-3 attack. But then I'm getting I'm getting +1 for my lead unit's the Jaegers. So yeah, I'm not going to play a card. You don't have any. I am +1 for morale. I am -2 for attacking up the steep slope. So I am -1 on 1-3, I believe.
So there's a little more.
Oh, rifles. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're -1 for the rifle.
Yep.
-2 for slope.
Yep.
Severe slope.
Yep.
+1 because of morale.
Yep.
And +1 because you're regulars attacking militia.
Yeah. So I'm a -1 overall.
Yes.
Okay, at 1-3. All right. No leadership for me. You do? No, you don't have it?
I do. I'm adjacent to McDougal.
Right. Okay. There we go.
Minus another.
Yeah, -2.
Yep.
Okay.
1-3 -2.
I thought I could trick you there. 1-3 -2. This would be a great time for a 9. 5. That's a
attack or retreat.
Yeah. 1 hex, right?
Yep.
Good. Okay. Well, let's do the big show. Last one here. So I've got 3, 6, and 5. I have 11 to your 6.
Yeah.
So 3-2.
Yeah.
Okay. We both have leadership. My lead unit is going to be the. We'll make it the 3rd Battalion Light Infantry on the bottom side of the slope down there.
I see it. I'll lead with Delaware.
Yeah.
So you're -1 there and -1 because some, but not all units are coming up the severe slope.
Yep. So 3-2 -2.
Yes. And there's no flanks.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we get all the cards. Oh, and the built-in -1 for the chaos.
Oh yeah,
we neglected that on the other one, but it doesn't matter.
Okay. So I'm minus what? I'm -3. 3.
3 to 2 minus 3.
Okay.
All righty.
Oh, yeah, reveal. Sorry.
That's a 0.
0. Okay. Okay, this needs to be a very high roll. So we said minus 3?
Yeah, 3 to 2 minus 3, and you do have momentum.
Yep. There's a 7 that becomes a 4. Okay, that's a pin. I'm going to use the momentum because there's no reason not to.
Yeah.
And we'll roll it again.
Ooh.
Ouch. That's
Attacker disrupted.
Yep.
And that would be your lead unit. Let's make sure he can retreat. I think he can.
Yeah, I think he can go.
You got to figure out.
He can just go up to on top of the Jaegers. And then the 28th foot has to make a morale check.
Yes.
Failed. Which he can go here.
Yeah.
And I think that's it, right?
Everybody under Leslie.
Oh, it has to make a morale check, yeah. Okay, so here's the 5th foot at +2. They pass. Royal Berkshire at +1. He passes.
And that's ball game.
Wait, real quick, just to make sure that we're doing it properly. I am going to
play a card.
Use my last card, and it's a parade order, which is completely useless. I'm just holding on to it as the psychological effect of me having a card.
Oh, nice. Well, that lowers my morale. I think I have to do that manually.
Yeah, I got you 15.
Yeah.
Nice. So that was the final score. There was what's the VP? Probably not good.
2.5 to 1/2.
2.5 to 1/2.
Yeah, but see, victory points in this scenario are really irrelevant because you can't win a marginal victory.
Right.
You must either take the objective hex or hold it. Right. Take it or hold it.
Yeah.
Or drive me to wavering.
Yep.
I'm going to hop out of my screen so I can come back and join the festivities here.
Yeah.
There we go.
We did it. And for everyone watching who stuck with us, thank you very much for, I had such a strong opening in that game with the cards and the attacks, and then I just couldn't quite push you off.
It's a challenging scenario, and there's because the game is so new in the series, we are building a database for this, but I would say there's not quite enough data points yet to really establish a trend line. I think smart money suggests that the Americans have a bit of an advantage because the British only have 4 turns, and they almost everything has to go their way.
Yeah.
And so smart money suggests the Americans have the edge, but we do, Justin, keep the historical record for every game at RevCon and WBC, as well as other smaller regional tournaments that we've competed in over the past 2 decades. And we've got Dave Stifler just did all the math on that database. And I don't have it in front of me, but I could tell you by percentages which game, which scenario, which side has what percentage chance of prevailing.
Wow.
Based on hundreds of playings.
That's really incredible. That's really incredible, and as like a sort of continuous support from a continuous support standpoint for the series and for tournament play and stuff like that. That's actually really awesome. It inspires me actually to probably do that for my game when it comes out. Just because I find that people who are very engaged are going to be the people most likely to probably look at that, right? They're going to be most likely to want to know what that data is. So, well, I'm happy to contribute in some way on behalf of the British there for Chatterton Hill.
Well, listen, I was so looking forward to playing with you just because I just love your repartee.
Thank you.
The way you manage all this, and now that you've dipped your toe in the pool, down the road in the future when you have some spare time, if you want to do a game you're more familiar with, like Utah or one of the earlier ones that you have played, I'd be happy to give you a vassal game, not necessarily live stream or anything, just me and you. We could play.
Yeah, I would love that. Yeah, actually, I've been thinking a lot about revisiting Saratoga because I've played it a couple of times, but it's been quite a long time, and I really like that battle, and it's an interesting situation. So yeah, I might take you up on that. If you're going to be in San Diego this coming year, I don't know if you are or not, but I'm planning on going. So we could play it there, or if in person, or something in person.
I committed to Harold that I would be going, unless life intervenes. But
Sure.
I've asked him to pencil me in. I would tell if anyone's still with us, any other folks, just a quick sneak peek for WBC this summer. I just finished my event submission form, and I had to articulate the heats and which games we're playing and the time frames and all that. And we are going to be playing the next day scenario from Saratoga, which that scenario has American ammunition depletion, where the Arnold's wing of the American Army has to track how many rounds it fires before it runs out of ammunition. And it's that particular game, Saratoga, now has 3 distinct scenarios: the short one, Freeman's Farm, the full campaign, and then this next day scenario. I mean, who knows, right? Burgoyne wanted to press the attack the very next day, and he was talked out of it by his staff.
Yeah, and like, how different would the world history have been had he done it?
Well, had he broken through and gone all the way to Albany, who knows? The Dickinson, was testified that for the Americans, testified that that wing of the Army was low on ammunition, and they wouldn't have been able to. They weren't replenished in time if the British had assaulted again, and they were skeptical whether they could have held or not. But Burgoyne thought Howe was coming up the Hudson, and Howe went to Philadelphia,
right,
instead.
So. Yeah, well, I mean, so how many inflection points like that throughout the history of the world? Like, if one person had decided one other thing, that we could have been talking about a completely different, modern day. Yeah. I love that. And that's a great thing about war games, letting you explore those things. So it sounds like it'll be a blast at WBC. Well, Mark, thank you so much. I know it's late where you are. I really appreciate you sitting down for a few hours and playing the game with me. This is great to have you on, and I am really happy actually that I got a chance to finally play Battle of White Plains, because if you recall, I did an unboxing on the channel talking about how I was very excited. So to play with you, a privilege. Thank you so much, and I will absolutely sit with you next time we see each other in person, and if you're in for a game.
Outstanding. And I'll just close with this. We were 3 hours, but if you allow that we spent the first 30 minutes in conversation, and that the game was slowed by rules interpretation and coaching and a few other things, stepping through different things, movement and combat, this is really a 90-minute scenario for 2 experienced players, and no more than a 2-hour scenario if you're checking the rule book.
Yeah. So and that's one of the things I love about this series, is that there are so many of those easily playable single session games and scenarios in the series, which I think is great.
All right. Well, goodbye to all your listeners, and thank you very much, Justin. We'll see you.
Yeah. Thank you as well. Good night.